retired after the '90 season because of health issues. Got healthy. Years, took them to the Super Bowl. Then he coached the Jets for 3 years. Then before the 2000 season, he said, I'm finished, I'm done, write it down. But that siren song had to be answered one more time at the age of 62. He told us last night, he said, I'm back because I love football. And here he is as the coach of the Cowboys, who come off a loss to Atlanta last week. Meanwhile, the Giants won last week. They beat Kurt Warner up. They beat the Rams. They're 1-0. And Philadelphia all of a sudden starts the year 0-2, the team the Giants figured to have to beat. And now the Giants have a chance to go 2-0. But, John, tonight they'll have to do it with 3 rookie offensive linemen and no fullback, and 3 rookie offensive linemen haven't started in a non-strike game in 22 years.
And there's a reason it's been 22 years. I mean, that's something that's really tough. I mean, just starting 1 rookie offensive lineman would make you nervous. 3 of them has to really make you nervous. Now, the dilemma that Jim Fossil has is he knows he has a quarterback in Kerry Collins. He has good wide receivers, good tight end, good running back. But to make those plays happen, you have to get it blocked. That offensive line has to do the job. Now, he's going to help Kerry Collins out. I mean, he'll give him some 3-step drop. He'll give him some play pass. He'll give him some maximum protection. And they also have to be able to run. Every offensive lineman I've ever known loves to run block.
And Tiki Barber had a big week out of the backfield last week. As far as the Cowboys are concerned, it was the biggest story in the offseason. Bill Parcells goes to Dallas. At this point, how do you assess his impact on that franchise?
Well, you know, I think we're going to know in the 2nd and 3rd year, because Bill Parcells comes in and just his appearance, just Bill Parcells there is going to make them better. They hit rock bottom, and he's the guy to bring them back, to make them bounce back. He doesn't have all his guys. He'll get more in the 2nd year, more in the 3rd year, then we'll see.
Mystery keeps unraveling tonight. It's the Cowboys and the Giants as we end week 2 of the NFL season on Monday Night Football. The New York Giants, he's with Lisa Guerrero. Lisa.
Thanks very much, Al. Parcells versus the Giants, Jeremy Shockey versus the media. All kinds of hype leading into this game. But, Jim, the outcome of this game could rest on the shoulders of your 3 rookie linemen. Are you concerned at all about their ability to handle the spotlight tonight?
Well, I don't think so. You know, these guys are smart guys. They came in here and showed me, you know, a confidence in themselves. So they're not nervous, so I'm not nervous for them.
Jeremy Shockey made some derogatory comments about Bill Parcells, amongst others, in the offseason. You sat him down. You had a nice conversation with him about tempering his behavior off the field. But did you talk to him at all about keeping his emotions in check tonight?
Well, I did. I spent some time with him, but he's fine. He's relaxed. I know when Jeremy's getting excited and it doesn't feel right. But young man's an outstanding guy, and every coach in America would like to have him on their team. Thanks
very much for your help. Good luck tonight. Jim Fossil looking to improve his record on Monday Night Football. He's 1-6 right now, but his one victory did come at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys, Al.
Remember it well, Lisa. Back in 1999, LT is here. Lawrence Taylor comes out. He'll be on the Giants sideline, though he and Bill Parcells with a big embrace when they saw each other earlier. Brian Mitchell, who came over as a free agent, had been with Philadelphia, here to run back kicks. He's also been playing some offensively and, in fact, scored a touchdown for the Giants last week out of the backfield. And Toby going. This is Brian Mitchell. Up past the 20. And a nice run back to start the game to the 29-yard line. And let's take a look at the Giants starting offense.
Kerry Collins, Penn State.
Tiki Barber, Virginia.
Amani Toomer, Michigan.
Ike Hilliard, Florida.
Jeremy Shockey, University of Miami.
Savchenko, Morgan State.
Jeff Rail, Northwestern.
Rich Seibert, Western Illinois.
Wayne Lucier, University of Colorado.
Dave Deal, University of Illinois.
Chris Bober, Nebraska, Omaha.
And so only Seibert and Bober are veterans. The other 3 are rookies. And they start from the 29-yard line out of the I, and they give the ball to Barber, and he goes nowhere. So a good start for the Cowboy defense. Willie Blade made the tackle.
You know, Vasante Shenko is a fullback. They have 2 tight ends. They start with 2 tight ends. They're going to run to this side. Here's his block. Not much of a lead block, but they didn't get the job done on that left side either. The one thing you can't allow in a running play is a defense to get penetration. The Cowboys defense got penetration on that play and no lead block by the tight end.
And now on 2nd and 12, 3 tight ends in the game. So the Giants begin very conservatively. And there was action up front because Amani Toomer was in motion and started forward. And so Jerry Austin will give us the first call of the night.
Ball start, 81 offense, 5 yards, second down.
Well, those are the things, you can say you can run the ball, you can do all those things to help Kerry Collins, to help a young offensive line, and then you go first down, you don't gain anything, then you have a penalty, and then you end up in these long yardage situations. And this is where the defense can really tee off on a young, inexperienced offensive line.
And now they go from 3 tight ends to spreading it out, and only Collins in the backfield out of the shotgun. Taking the play clock all the way down against the 4-man rush. Has to come back this way and finds his man, and that's Tim Carter, their number 3 receiver, the second-year man from Auburn. A 13-yard gain, still shy of the first down by about 4.
And that's a heck of a play by Kerry Collins, because one of the things we talked about is a shotgun and a short, quick 3-step drop. 1, 2, 3, ready to throw. He's looked to the right, looks to the right. There's nothing there, and he's able to come back to the left. Now, you say you shouldn't be able to do that on that short drop, but he was able to do that because of the pass protection or lack of pass rush by the Cowboys.
So Collins' first pass of the night is good for 13. 3rd down and 4 on the game's opening drive from the 35-yard line. Collins, and on a slant he hits Toomer, who makes the catch and then pays the price with Williams coming in at the end. Mario Edwards was providing the initial coverage on the outside. First down.
Boy, did he throw that one in there. And Amani Toomer, anytime you run a slant, you have to get your shoulder inside. Now watch, he starts here, and right there, you see that move? He faked to the outside, then boom, he goes to the inside, and from that step, he was open. And watch what Kerry Collins does. He's not going to stand back there a heck of a long time.
So the Giants go from 2nd and 17 to a first down. They have Shanko in the backfield as the fullback, and Collins throwing deep and a little too deep. Amani Toomer was there. Williams with the coverage, and let's take a look at the Dallas starting defense.
Greg Ellis, UNC.
Willie Blade, Mississippi State.
Leroy Glover, San Diego State. Ebenezer Eckelbein, North Carolina. Al Singleton, Temple.
Dad Wynn, Texas A&M.
Dexter Coakley, Appalachian State. Terrence Newman, Kansas State. Darren Woodson, Arizona State. Will Williams, Oklahoma.
Mario Edwards, Florida State.
Bill Parcells retained Mike Zimmer as his defensive coordinator from Dave Campo's staff. Otherwise, he pretty much cleaned house amongst the assistants. 2nd down and 10. Collins stepping up in the pocket and then hit as he throws a duck intended for Barber that is incomplete. But wrapping him up was Greg Ellis.
That was one of those coverage sack type of things or coverage hit type of things, because he had time, and then he couldn't find anyone, and you see him step up and look, and then he finally had to dump it off here. You see it's a little play action pass. Now he's okay here, he's okay there, and then right at the end he felt Greg Ellis. Watch Ellis, he's starting out there on Shockey, then he goes outside on the backup tight end. That's a second block he's missed in this drive, by the way, and then he just goes right through him. And Kerry Collins had to hold that one too long.
That was Shanko, the rookie from Oregon State, missing the block. 3rd down and 10, and the play clock has already gone all the way down, and that'll be a penalty. So delay of the game on the Giants.
Offense, 5 yards, and it's still 3rd down.
Back they go to the 42-yard line.
That's when Jim Faso can't complain about an assistant coach, I know, because he's the head coach, and he's also the offensive coordinator, and he's also the play caller.
Which he's been since the 8th game of last season, when Sean Payton had that duty removed, and there is Payton, who is now the quarterback's coach and assistant head coach of the Cowboys. Went there with Parcells, and Fossil continues to call the plays. And why not? He did a great job in the second half of last year. And Collins is under pressure and gets knocked down first by Greg Ellis. So a good series for Greg Ellis. He's the first guy there, and then Eckelbein comes from the other side, and they'll force a punt.
Yeah, it was just a 3-man rush. You know, we talk about rookie offensive linemen. This wasn't a rookie offensive lineman. This is number 67, Chris Bober. He was a center. They moved him to tackle, and you see Greg Ellis just goes right by him.
They picked up Jeff Fiegels, the 16-year veteran, to do the punting in the offseason.
And he's a good one.
And it's Zuriel Smith, a rookie from Hampton University, who fields it at the 15-yard line and brings it back out to the 21. And that's where Quincy Carter and the Cowboys take over with 3 minutes and 24 seconds having elapsed in Parcells' return to the Meadowlands. No score. Times Square, traffic moving. And that's a low ceiling tonight because the Empire State Building is over 1,000 feet, as you know, John, and that's about the ceiling tonight as Quincy Carter takes over and tosses it back to Troy Hambrick, and he gets decked behind the line of scrimmage as we take a look at the Cowboys starting offense.
Quincy Carter, Georgia.
Troy Hambrick, Savannah State.
Richie Anderson, Penn State.
Joey Galloway, The Ohio State University.
Terry Glenn, Ohio State.
Dan Campbell, Texas A&M. Roselle Adams, Michigan State.
Larry Allen, Centennial High School. Matt Lair, Virginia Tech.
Andre Gerard, Colorado.
Ryan Young, Kansas State.
Knew he'd get a high school in there. Larry Allen, and he actually went to Sonoma State in Northern California where he played college football. And 2nd and 13, another loss. So it was Barrow on the first play, and this time it's Sean Williams. And let's take a look at that Giant defense.
Michael Strahan, Texas Southern University.
Cornelius Griffin, Alabama.
Keith Hamilton, University of Pittsburgh.
Kenny Holmes, The University of Miami.
Brandon Short, Penn State.
Mike Barrow, Miami.
Dhani Jones, University of Michigan.
Will Allen, Syracuse.
Sean Williams, UCLA.
Omar Stoudemire, Fresno State.
Will Peterson, Brownsville High School.
Will Peterson gets into the act. He went to Western Illinois. 3rd down and 15 now. Everybody pointing at each other, and it will go against the Cowboys. So a stuttering start.
Part 76 offense, 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
2 runs for -5 and a penalty.
Yeah, and that's Flozell Adams, the big left tackle. And you know, when you go on the road, I know that Bill Parcells is thinking now, you know, this isn't the way you picture things starting. You know, you think you're going to run a couple, get a 1st down, get everyone settled down, and then start taking some attack. Here, they're just going backward.
3rd and 20. They bring Avian Kaysen into the game. He's their 3rd down back, number 23, who had a 63-yard touchdown run against Atlanta last week. And Carter steps up, and his first pass of the game is into the Giants bench. So the Giants start with a brilliant defensive series, 3 and out, and a Cowboy penalty, and in comes the punting group.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were talking to Bill Parcells last night. You know, he was saying, how long is this going to take you to build this team? And he said it all depends on one thing, or one big thing. He said that's Quincy Carter. I said, well, when are you going to have the answer? He said, I don't have it yet, but I'm going to have it in 6 or 7 weeks. And he said, if he's the guy, he said, this program will be shorter time. If he's not the guy, he said, this could be a long time.
His backup is Chad Hutchinson. Carter won the job in camp, and Toby Goen shanks one off the side of his foot, but he gets a lot of distance out of it. And for an ugly punt, that'll look pretty good on the stat sheet. Not terrible, 47 yards. And the Giants take over near midfield. First period, no score. Jim Fossil in his 7th year, and Bill Parcells, who is a Jersey guy, and that shot is taken from the Jersey side of the Hudson River. Bill, in fact, today spent about a half hour, got into a car and drove around the old neighborhood. From the 41-yard line, the Giants, Collins hands the ball off to Tiki Barber. A hard-earned 5 yards, and we take a look at the Giants' offensive line, and we told you about the 3 rookies, and there they are, Rail, Lucier, and Deal. And as you can see, undrafted, a 7th-round pick and a 5th-round pick. We said at the top, 22 years since 3 rookie offensive linemen, apart from a strike year, started. May, Grimm, and Jacoby are the 3. Look at that. 3 great offensive linemen for Joe Gibbs in '81 and all with Super Bowl rings.
And that was, you know, Joe Gibbs, you know, we talk about young offensive linemen and maximum pass protection. That's what he did.
Well, that young offensive line has just given up another sack, and this is Ebenezer Ecubon. And Seibert is down, and Ecubon is a guy who had only 1 sack all last year.
Yeah, you're just talking about the offensive lineman, the rookie offensive lineman, and here's you're going to see Jeff Rail. He's right here. He's the left tackle. Here's Ebenezer Ecubon, and you're going to see him come right off him. You see just a speed rush. He just grabs his right shoulder, pulls him off, and then he comes from Kerry Collins' backside. Right there, right shoulder, grab, get beyond him right there.
And it's Seibert who falls on the ball as Collins had it removed. 3rd down and 11. Collins, he's going to swing it out here to Barber. And Barber will not have enough of the first down. And one thing about that offensive line, John, is that you take a look at Ebenezer Ecubon, who has been disappointing because he was drafted very high by the Cowboys. Last year he had 1 sack. Tonight, in the first 8 minutes of the game, he has a sack and a half. He's already eclipsed last year's total.
And I think the defense felt Bill Parcells' wrath last week. And I think generally the defense, specifically the defensive line, that, you know, if you're a defensive lineman, you have to get pressure. You have to get sacks. You can't come up with none.
Jeff Fiegel's punt is fielded at the 5, and that's Zuriel Smith, who pulls off a rookie move and gets away with it because he fielded it at the 5-yard line, and it's Brian Mitchell who knocks him down. So normally the rule of thumb is don't catch it inside the 10, but he gets away with it.
There's another rookie excitement.
Yes, it is. For Parcells, as of course to the great linebacker Carl Banks, Mark Bavaro, Lawrence Taylor, LT, here tonight, and our old partner Frank Gifford. I saw Frank before the game, John. I said, I know why you're here. Amani Toomer is going to break your mark for receiving yards, which Frank has held forever. You want to suit up, don't you?
After Amani Toomer does it, then Frank lets him catch a couple more, huh?
Right. He looks in good enough shape to do it, too. From the 24-yard line, Quincy Carter on first down has it intercepted at the 28-yard line by Ralph Brown for the touchdown. Second interception and the first touchdown of his 4-year career.
Well, you're going to see the Cowboys. They go 3 wide receivers, so that's what brings Ralph Brown in. He's the nickelback. He's just reading back there. He's in a zone. He gets a jump on it. I'm sure that Quincy Carter, he comes out of the play pass. He just throws it. Ralph Brown is back there reading it, sees the whole thing, and jumps right in front of Joey Galloway.
Matt Bryant for the point after. So Giants Stadium has erupted as the nickelback takes it in from 29 yards. And with 7:21 remaining in the opening period, Mr. Brown has just scored his first touchdown on Monday Night Football. Unforgettable moment for him, and it's 7-0 Giants. It's the best of the Monday night rivalries. Through the years, so many memorable games. The Raiders and the Broncos next week in Denver on Monday Night Football. Ralph Brown was picked in the 5th round by the Giants in 2000. Picks one off, goes 29 yards, 7-0 New York. And Bryant to kick off. Floats down to the 10-yard line, and Zuriel Smith, the rookie from Hampton University in Virginia, turns it upfield and gets knocked out of bounds at the 50 by the kicker, Bryant. So Dallas with a touchdown against them on the last play, and then it's Smith who gives them a little juice here, running it out to midfield.
Let's watch a touchdown again by Ralph Brown. You see, he's a nickel back. He's playing here, but he's not playing man-to-man. Here's Joey Galloway. As a ball snap, he starts working out here in a zone, and I think that Quincy Carter thinks it's man. And watch Brown as the ball snap, he starts coming out here. He's going to take the underneath away or the slant, and Quincy Carter just throws it right to him.
And now Carter goes back to work at the 47-yard line. His own 47, and his movement up front. And it looked like Larry Allen was the man.
73 offense, 5 yards. It's still first down.
Larry Allen may someday wind up in the Hall of Fame. He's been that good, but isn't it interesting, John, how he became one of Parcells' whipping boys early on?
Well, I think what happened, I think Larry Allen, and you're right, he is going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best guards I've ever seen, but he got a little carried away with his weightlifting. You know, he was bench pressing 600 pounds, 700 pounds and all that, and then I think his weight got away with him, and then he wasn't in the type of condition he had to be in, and Bill Parcells knew he couldn't play it that way.
Now they give the ball to Richie Anderson, no stranger to this stadium, as he played with the Jets for a number of seasons. And we take a closer look at Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter was actually drafted in the 2nd round by the Chicago Cubs a few years ago. Played 2 seasons of minor league baseball, but he dreamed about not only playing for the Cubs, but as a kid he wanted to be the Dallas Cowboy quarterback, and here he is. And this is the 3rd year in a row he has started on opening day. He started on opening day as a rookie in 2001.
In fact, he was saying in the 5th grade, he wrote that in a paper, like, what you want to be when you grow up? You want to be the center fielder for the Cubs and the quarterback for the Cowboys.
2nd and 14, and that's caught inside the 40-yard line by Terry Glenn. Terry Glenn picked by the Patriots when Parcells was there, and he has been around over to Green Bay, and then Bill brings him down to Dallas, and that's a 20-yard gain.
You know what the Cowboys are doing? They're playing this game with 3 wide receivers. And you see here they have slot. There's Terry Glenn. He's a slot guy. He's going to start up. They clear to the outside, and then he runs what we call a short corner. Starts inside, then he goes to the corner, and Quincy Carter makes a pretty good throw to him.
Glenn shut out last week in the reception department, so that's his first as a Dallas Cowboy. Giants show blitz. Give the ball to Hambrick. And Hambrick, the man who supplants Emmitt Smith in the backfield, takes it to the 25-yard line. Hambrick, who played college football at South Carolina for 3 years and then finished up at Savannah State.
You know, Bill Parcells was saying last night, he said, we're going to do something a little different in this game offensively. And he wouldn't say what it was. He said, you'll see it right off the bat. And what we're seeing right off the bat is he's using 3 wide receivers as his base offense, either to throw the ball or to spread out the defense for the run.
As is the case right here. Back to Hambrick on the ground. He knifes through over the left side and takes it to the 18-yard line off a Dan Campbell block. Campbell, former Giant tight end, who goes to Dallas as a free agent and provides the spark here.
That was a heck of a block by Dan Campbell. You know, sometimes you'll pull your guard, sometimes you'll pull your tackle, and on that time they just bring Dan Campbell, and he's the lead block. See, he starts in the backfield, then he comes right down the line, makes that block right there, and that's the one that freed Hambrick.
Took Brandon Short right out of the play. Got a little bit of rain right now, some showers in the area. 2nd down and 3, and the ball is given to Richie Anderson, and Anderson takes it inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. So the Cowboys showing immediate resiliency. They give up the big play on their first offensive play on the last series and then come right down the field, set up by that Zuriel Smith return.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We always say that it's 3 areas. It's offense, it's defense, and special teams. And sometimes we don't give all the credit the special teams should have, but it was the special teams play, as you say, that got this drive started and maybe started to turn things around for the Cowboys.
Take a look at that. Last year, the Giants were worst in the league in red zone percentage. Dallas was 2nd. And Dallas hardly got in, like 1.5 times per game from the 8-yard line. Hambrick. The interesting note there is if you looked at those numbers on the red zone figures, the Giant percentage was worse, but the Cowboys in Dave Campos last year, they were in 20-some-odd times, which means you're only in the red zone 1.5 times a game.
Yeah, we see Bill Parcells calling that play, and I looked at his play sheet last night, and he showed it to me. And in the red zone, he had reminders. And the reminders were RUN, RUN, RUN. And because you get down in the red zone, and you always think pass. And he just wanted to remind himself when you get down there, run the ball.
And he brings Avian Kaysen into the backfield 23 as the sole setback here. And Carter looking to throw. Stepping up, mobile, inside the 5, touchdown Dallas. Quincy Carter goes in from 8 yards, so Parcells writes down run, 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 and they wind up running. Not the way he planned it, though.
Well, he ran on first down. He ran a couple times to get down there, and then it's Quincy Carter who runs it in. But the play that he called, you're right, is a pass. And you see Quincy Carter going back here. And this is the thing. When you have speed and you can do this, and if you can't throw, if there's not something open, and you're Quincy Carter, you have to find a gap and take it straight up the field.
2nd rushing touchdown of his career. Billy Cundiff, 2nd-year kicker, and puts that one through the uprights with 3:06 remaining in the opening quarter. So the Cowboys come bouncing back, set up by that Zuriel Smith return to midfield, and then Carter pays it off, 7-7. Gene to take on the Oregon Ducks Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, at 12:30 Pacific time right here on ABC. So the New York Giants giving up the touchdown. Michael Strahan ties his shoe on the sideline, and the Giant offense takes over here as Brian Mitchell takes the going kickoff at the goal line. And and is tackled up at the 20-yard line by James Whalen with 3:01 remaining in the period. Jeremy Shockey made a lot of headlines during the offseason, called Bill Parcells, as you know, a homo in a magazine article. And of course, if you say it to a magazine these days or say it to anybody, it goes everywhere. And then he in effect said, no, I was misquoted. But Jeremy has to learn, when you talk to a writer and you don't know him that well, he's really not your friend. I mean, in a way, he's looking for something to sink his teeth in to, and it's not a misquote. He said it. It was reported. And Bill Parcells has tended to poo-poo it as Tiki Barber gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. Bill sloughing it off. As you know, young guys say things that sometimes they wish they hadn't said.
Yeah, and I think Bill Parcells has coached those kind of guys too. And you know, if I had to pick a team and Jeremy Shockey were out there, I would take him. I mean, even though he said this or he said that, or he doesn't talk or he does talk, the way that he plays, I would like to have him on my side.
He's one of the guys you hold the bus for, isn't he?
Yes, that's exactly right. He's a bus holder for her.
2nd and 10. They spread it out of the shotgun. Collins guns it low, incomplete. Copley put the pressure on. Let's check in with Lisa.
Hey, all you guys were just talking about Jeremy Shockey, and possibly nobody knows him as well as his former teammate Dan Campbell, who of course now plays for the Cowboys. He told me the other day that as soon as he saw Shockey, he knew he would be able to play at a high level in the NFL, but he was worried that he wouldn't emotionally be able to handle the spotlight right here in New York City. Sure enough, that certainly came to pass in the offseason. Now, the best sounding board for Jeremy Shockey is Kerry Collins, who told me yesterday, look, I can only make suggestions to Jeremy Shockey, but nobody can tell that boy what to say.
Kerry's a good guy to go to. I mean, Kerry's been through a ton of stuff on his own. 3rd and 10. And that pass is close to a first down, hauled in by Ike Hilliard at the 32-yard line with 2 minutes to go in the period. And Jerry Austin says first down, New York.
Hey, that was good pass protection, and that was a strike there by Kerry Collins. If you give him time, and we know that Kerry Collins can't run, won't run, but the thing that he can do is he can get back there quickly, he can step up and zip the ball, and that's exactly what he did there.
1st and 10 from the 32-yard line. Hilliard in motion. Stops on a wing, and they give it to Tiki Barber, and he loses the ball. He's a fumbler, and he fumbles right here. And the Cowboys have it at the 35-yard line.
Hey, the Cowboys played run that whole time. Greg Ellis strips him on that play, and they had 8 men up. They brought their strong safety up, so they're playing 8 men in the box. And that's a situation that you usually get out of, and you usually throw the ball. But they come up, and you can see here's Roy Williams there. He's just waiting. Here comes Ellis. He's coming right down the line, and he just strips the ball right out of Tiki Barber's hands. You see, here's your safety up here. 8 guys. They have all the gaps covered. And then when they start to go away from you, you just come right down the line. And as you say, Tiki Barber is a fumbler, so every defensive lineman, every defensive player is always going to go after the ball.
28 fumbles since 2000, by far the most of any non-quarterback in the league over that period. From the 35, now Hambrick to the left side with a little Edwin Moses move. A hurdle job to the 28-yard line, tackled there by Stoutmeyer. And there it is, Barber, 28th, and Ricky Williams, 6 behind. Amon Green among the non-quarterbacks, and Travis Henry. And then Barber had a fumble last week that he got away with because the whistle had blown, and the replay proved conclusively that it should have been a fumble.
And then he probably gets away with more of them because if the Giants win and he has big numbers, you kind of tend to forget those fumbles.
2nd and 3 from the 29-yard line. Carter rolls, throws, caught near side. That's Glenn. And they're going to say Glenn was touched down at the 20-yard line. He was touched down by the defensive back at the 20. No, he just got a hand on him. That's enough. Touchdown.
Isn't Quincy Carter something? And I think this is what Bill Parcells is trying to find out. Is he consistent? You know, can he do one thing consistently? Because the minute you see something like this and you say, oh, this guy can't do it. So the minute you say that he can't do it, then you look at something and he makes throws and he makes runs and you say he can do it. So what you have to do is you have to get him when he makes these kinds of plays most of the time.
Parcells saying last night he just has to be consistent from the 20-yard line. Rolling, throwing, and he throws that one away. The coverage was good. Richie Anderson, the nearest Cowboy, with 1 tick remaining in the period.
Bill Parcells didn't look at that play sheet that he had, because he's right down there at the red zone now, and he has run, and on first down he goes pass.
And there it is, about 110 calls on that sheet.
That's Dan Campbell here. He's going to do a pretty good job of blocking Michael Strahan. I mean, think of Dan Campbell. You know, he's a tight end. You think of him usually going out for the pass on passing downs. They kept in to help pass protection.
On 2nd down and 10, the pass is high, intended for Anderson, and that's the way the quarter will end. But there's a penalty down at the 14-yard line. A marker clear across on the other side of the field.
Offside, defense number 53, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
And that's Brandon Short. That's the end of the period. 7-7 at the Meadowlands, and Monday Night Football resumes after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You look across the Hudson to Midtown Manhattan. Al Michaels, John Madden, Lisa Guerrero. We start the 2nd quarter. Game tied, 7-7. Dallas driving. 2nd and 5 at the New York 15-yard line following the Tiki Barber fumble. Time for Carter, and then he overthrows the intended receiver. That's one of the tight ends, Jason Witten.
And I think he had Witten there earlier. That was a bootleg. Witten started off here on the left side, and as he comes across just outside the hash mark, he was wide open. And I think that Quincy Carter held that one just a little too long.
Carter checking out that wristband on 3rd and 5.
There he is. You see the bootleg, and he's coming out there. And I think he could have thrown it just a little before that, because Jason Witten had a couple of steps.
Giants rush 4, set up the screen. Kaysen, and what a great open field tackle by Dhani Jones. Kaysen would have had room to roam there, but Jones is able to break up the play and force the field goal attempt.
Didn't you feel like Dhani Jones kind of sneaked up on Kaysen, and he didn't know he was there? He was there at the ground, and Kaysen turned, and boom, there's Dhani Jones right there. That's one thing that Bill Parcells has brought or added to his offense. He's never been a big screen guy. And he feels the way football is, and with speed and the kind of guys that he got, that maybe he can run more screens.
Cunda from 37 last week against Atlanta, missed his only opportunity from 33, but this one is just inside the left upright and good to give Dallas the lead. So the Cowboys have come into the Meadowlands, fell behind 7-0. Barber's fumble sets up that field goal, and it's 10-7 with 14-12 remaining in the first half. Update the figures for you. And the Cowboys with 68 total yards, 1 turnover apiece, and of course the turnover by the Cowboys resulted in the Giants touchdown.
Yeah, you see the Giants only have 5 yards rushing there, and as I said, one of the best friends of an offensive lineman is a running game. That's something that, you know, when you come into pro football, that you have to adjust. Pass protection becomes so big, but every college lineman can run block. Every high school lineman can run block. So you would think that Jim Fossil, if he were going to help this offensive line out, that maybe he would give him a little more run.
I'll just flip that graphic. You know who's who.
I think everyone here knows who's who, don't
yes,
they?
Yes, they do.
You know, and you say, what are they going to do with Bill Parcells? Are they going to boo him? Are they going to cheer him? And, you know, he's with the hated Cowboys now, but you can't change history. I mean, the New York Giants won 2 Super Bowls, and Bill Parcells was the head coach of those 2 teams. And that doesn't go away. That doesn't change.
Never. Never. Bill looked like he was coughing a little bit. He had a little cold left. And one of the greatest run-back men in history, a guy who could wind up in the Hall of Fame as a run-back specialist. Mitchell takes it out to the 24-yard line.
Yeah, I think this offensive line is doing a pretty good job. I mean, you're coming in, how's the offensive line going to do? And they had a little trouble right there. You'll see the sack there. And then another time they get, pressure from the backside. But I think overall, with 3 rookie starters, with a guy who's been playing center, starting at right tackle, I think they're doing okay.
The big man, Luke Pettigrew, the left tackle, is out with back spasm. Should be back next week when the Giants go to Washington. Short drop. Collins throws. It's deflected and incomplete. A lot of motion and movement up front, all legal. Toomer, the intended receiver, covered by Edwards.
Yeah, you talk about putting the mustard on the ball. You can tell he had mustard on that one, because when he hits a guy and the ball bounces up like that, there's mustard flying off it.
Yeah. It's a Brett Favre kind of throw.
He's thrown a couple tonight like Brett Favre. Eric Collins is as thin as I've ever seen him, and I think he's moving a lot better.
Second down and 10. Back to the ground to Barber, and Barber is able to skitter free and gets it up to the 28-yard line. Tackled there by Dexter Coakley.
You know, and you think, as I was just saying about offensive linemen and how they love to run block, I think you have to give them a little more of that. I mean, you come back with the second down run now they're going to play against nickel, and they're going to have to pass. I mean, this is a passing situation here, but I think you would like to get them a run. There's Jim McNally, the offensive line coach, one of the best in all of pro football, one of the best that ever coached in all of pro football. And when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals and Anthony Munoz and those guys, hey, if there's anyone that can coach a group of 3 rookies in one line, Jim McNally's that guy.
Like the East Coast version of the late Bob McKittrick of the 49ers. And Collins under pressure and then guns it, and it might be a first down. We'll see where they spotted Ike Hilliard. You saw the yellow line. If they give him forward progress, he's close. Pete Hunter makes the tackle, and let's see where they put the ball down. And it will be, according to Austin, a first down. And that looks very generous.
Yep. You can see him here. He just runs out, so he just steps outside the yellow line. You wonder, if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, know what kind of spot this is. Here we can see the yellow line in it. You know, does he get over? It looks like he was stopped before he got to that line.
Not even close, because it's where the ball is when your second foot comes down. Not even close.
So the Giants got a great spot.
Here's Tiki Barber, and he brings it up to the 37-yard line. Tackled there by Dat Wynn.
Yeah, this Dallas defense is not a big defense. Their defensive line isn't big. They have very small linebackers. But the one thing that they can do is they can pursue and gang tackle. So if you're going to run on them, I always thought the best way to run is run straight at them. When you start going right and left, they're going to get a whole bunch of white jerseys on you.
Second down and 8 from the 37. By the way, that spot, that was a reviewable play, but the game is moving along quickly as Barber moves to the outside and will not be able to turn the corner. He's run out by Pete Hunter. But had Parcells chosen to challenge, he probably would have won the challenge. But that's one of those plays, it's so hard for the coach to tell. And by the time the assistants say we should challenge it, Collins gets the snap off and forget about it.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. And then it looks like, you know, they don't have it, then they have it. The thing is, watch this Cowboy defense. They're getting, not only do they have those fast linebackers and defensive backs in pursuit, but they're also getting penetration with their defensive line.
Third down and 8 now. 6 defensive backs in for the Cowboys. And Collins throws for Shockey, and he makes the catch or not. No, they're going to rule incomplete. Never had possession. Incomplete. Tony Dixon and Darren Woodson with the coverage.
Yeah, someone's going to say, was that hit for Bill Parcells? Are they going to get him because of what he said about Bill Parcells? There's no way. That hit is an instinct. That hit is a reaction. Shockey has the ball. He's just bringing it down, and he really gets swallowed.
And he could feel Tony Dixon coming into the picture. Fourth down now, Jeff Fiegels to punt. End over end line drive, returnable, 24-yard line by Zuriel Smith, who spins to the outside, comes up past the 30, and gets run out of bounds into the Cowboy bench at the 39. So another good run back by Smith, who helps set up the touchdown drive. Brian Mitchell makes the tackle there. 4 minutes into the second quarter. 3-point Dallas lead. Dallas on top, 10-7, and the Dallas Cowboys have the ball at their own 39-yard line. So much made of the tuna. It's, you know, been, I guess, through the years, a lot of lore and myth have developed. But when he was an assistant coach at New England in '80, he told a linebacker one day who was trying to pull something off on Billy. He said, what do you think I am, Charlie the Tuna? And that has stuck around for 23 years. Brought out in the flat by Anderson. Nice move there to pick up some extra yardage. And let's check in with Lisa.
Hey, Al, I'm with NFL Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor. LT, what went through your mind when you found out that Coach Parcells was not just coming back to coach, but coming back to coach the Cowboys?
Well, it's a little bit different, you know, but it could have been worse. He could have been coaching the Eagles, but I can live with that. Bill is a great coach, and I'm quite sure the fans around here appreciate everything he's done for the New York Giants.
Now, you're wearing your Giants rain gear, but is there any part of you that's kind of rooting for your former coach to beat your former team?
Well, you know, I like Bill as a coach. I like Bill as a person, but I'm still Giant Blue all the way. Giants my team.
Now, you know all about having to deal with the media spotlight here in New York City. If you were to give any bit of advice to Jeremy Shockey, what would it be?
Well, you know, Jeremy is one of those guys is a great talent, and just like myself, sometimes we feel that we can say anything and get away with it, but we'll learn. He'll learn as he gets older that sometimes the smart thing is just to stay quiet.
Very good advice. Thanks very much, LT. Back up to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Lisa. 132.5 sacks, and you know, John, you think that only an offensive player can be a magnetic presence and draw the attention of the fans, but not when he wore number 56.
You know, and you also think that only an offensive player can dominate a game, and Lawrence Taylor was the only defensive player that I've ever seen that could dominate a game. I mean, Lawrence Taylor could come in and take over a game by himself and win the game, and I saw him do it. I mean, in all the years I've been doing this, Lawrence Taylor is the best defensive player that I've ever seen.
Everybody on offense always knew where he was. 2nd down and 4 after the Dallas timeout at the 45-yard line. Carter gets great protection that time and then throws, and it is Joey Galloway making the catch. So Joey Galloway, so many good years at Seattle, then was traded to Dallas, got hurt after he became a Cowboy, now appears to be 1,000% healthy, and what a force he can be.
Hey, we were talking last night to Quincy Carter about Joey Galloway. He said, oh yeah, he said he's great. He said he's the best receiver we have, and when he goes back, that's a guy that I'm going to look for every time. He makes that catch, has both feet in.
21-yard pickup, led the team last year in receptions. Now they keep it on the ground, and this is Richie Anderson. Richie, I look at Richie Anderson. That is a Bill Parcells kind of player. You know, a guy sort of in the shadows a little bit, but he spots him and uses him very effectively.
Yeah, couldn't do everything because most fullbacks today can't run anymore. You know, usually the fullback is just a slug. He's just a blocker, maybe a pass catcher. But Richie Anderson is a fullback. Mike Allstott is a fullback also that can run with the ball, and then he can catch it. He's not a great blocker, but he is a good receiver and a good runner.
2nd down and 6 at the 30-yard line. 9.5 to go in the half. And they go back to Hambrick, and Hambrick bangs his way close to a first down. Flag is down back at the 32-yard line, just about the line of scrimmage.
That was a heck of a collision between Hambrick and Sean Williams. That's the thing. Those guys are always going to look each other up.
76 offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Flozell Adams.
The Cowboys are just getting something going, and then, in fact, that's one of the things Parcells was talking about last night. We get something going, and we just can't be consistent. You see right there what Flozell Adams does. I mean, that's just a stupid penalty. I mean, that's just when you don't get your feet in the right position, then you do stupid things with your hands and arms. I mean, there's no reason you have to do that. And then, you know, you talk about concentration. You have to concentrate. You have to do that. When you do something like Flozell Adams just did, you lost your concentration.
Especially not your 6th year in the league. 2nd down and 16. Fake screen under pressure. And then he gets off the screen, and Anderson breaks the tackle and turns nothing into a little something as he takes the ball to the 34-yard line. Pressure put on that time by Michael Strahan.
Yeah, and he was on a stunt. You're going to see Michael Strahan comes inside on that. Cornelius Griffin goes to the outside. But Strahan starts in. Cornelius Griffin comes out here, and that's where the ball is going to be thrown. Griffin is right there. In fact, he darn near caught that thing. The ball is thrown, and then he misses. I mean, a couple missed tackles there, and they get a play.
3rd and 10. Cowboys up by 3. 8.5 to go in the half. Looking for 10 to pick up the first down. Carter's going to take off, and Carter's going to slide to a halt at the 30-yard line, setting up a 47 or 48-yard field goal attempt or a punt.
You know why Cornelius Griffin made that tackle and why he was in on the screen to play before? Because he's the spy. Anytime they get to a third down, he's the guy that is going to spy Quincy Carter. And Cornelius Griffin, you know, I mean, different things different tackles do, but Griffin is one of the best spy tackles in all of football.
49-yard attempt, which would be a career high, and if he misses, the Giants would get the ball at their own 39. Toby Goen puts it down, and Cundiff bangs it through. Carter says, you bet. 7:41 to go in the half, and the Cowboys with 13 unanswered points, up by 6. So the Dallas Cowboys on top by 6 with 7:41 to go in the first half. Light rain. It's been off and on this weekend. Up past the 20. Up past the 30. Nice run back to the 31-yard line for a man who still thinks he's alive and wasn't touched down. And he's also made 3 special teams tackles tonight, so still going strong well into his career.
Brian Mitchell is one of those guys that are full of energy. You always have to watch him during the play and for about 10 seconds after every play, because he still plays.
Quarterback in college, 14th year out of Southwestern Louisiana. So the Giants will take over when we come back at their own 31. Coach, and on the right, Sean Payton, now with Dallas, was the Giants offensive coordinator and a hot young assistant coach, especially after the Super Bowl year of 2000. But then Jim had to take over the play calling after the Monday night game in Philadelphia, and the Giants were significantly better with Fossil calling the plays for the balance of the season. Now the Giants begin this drive at their own 31-yard line, and Collins swings it to the outside to Mitchell, so they've got Bryan coming out of the backfield now, and he's close to a first down up at the 42-yard line. The proof is in the graphic here. Look at the bottom line. They averaged a little under 13 points a game in the first 7 games through the Philly game on that Monday night, and then almost 26 points a game. They doubled the output with Fossil.
Right, and Jim Fossil was talking about it yesterday, and he said all he did was kind of simplify things and take the things that Kerry Collins did best, that Tiki Barber did best, that Amani Tuber did best, and put those in the game plans and not just have a big old list of plays.
Now tonight the Giants have scored, but it was the defense. It was Brown's interception return as Barber picks up 3 up to the 45 here.
You know, and I think that's a result of this offensive line. This is what you're going to see. I mean, you know, you have 3 rookies in there. You have a center playing tackle, and you're not just going to see the defense come in there and run in there and jump on them every down. But the problem you're going to have is staying consistent, and staying consistent is being able to get first downs and move the ball down the field. And that's what the Giants look like in this first half. That they make some plays. I mean, they make some passes, they make some runs, but they just can't keep it and knit it together.
Split Shockey to the right, send Hilliard in motion to the Giants. And then the pass is incomplete, and the coverage is perfect as Mario Edwards was there in the secondary.
You know, Lawrence Taylor was talking about Shockey and the things that he has to do and be quiet and all that stuff, and it's getting tougher and tougher just watching him. Jeremy Shockey, he hasn't caught a pass yet, and I know what happens to these young guys. When they don't, then they start getting frustrated, and then they start to press, and then they start to complain to their quarterback, and that's the thing that you have to fight through as a young player, that you're not going to get them all the time. When you don't, you have to keep working.
Giants staggering offensively to this point, averaging only 3 yards per play, and 1.8 on the ground, and that is caught up at the 49-yard line by Tim Carter, his second grab of the night, and Terrence Newman, the #1 draft choice of the Cowboys, the rookie from Kansas State, with the coverage, and it begins to rain as hard as it has during the course of the game.
It's raining something other than water, too.
Yes.
It's raining booze here, I think, on that offense. Because these people have to get a little frustrated, too. You know, these Giant fans, I mean, they start off, they win the first game. They know they're a better team than the Cowboys. They think they're going to bring them in here and, you know, and blow them out, but it's not going that way.
That last pass ruled incomplete, so Carter did not get what would have been a small gain. They would have had a punt anyway, 4th down. And Jeff Fiegels sends an end-over-end kick to the 11-yard line, and the rookie Zuriel Smith brings it back up to the 17, where David Tyree makes the tackle. 6:03 remaining in the half. In the rain in New York now with the Statue of Liberty right there. 13-7 Dallas. Showers were in the forecast, and there is one of your intermittent showers. In fact, the hardest it's rained tonight. Television always exacerbates. I mean, it's raining. It's not pouring, but it's something that it'll affect the crowd a little bit more than the players right now.
Who's exacerbating?
That's right.
The crowd or the players?
That's right. Gain of 1 for Troy Hambrick, flagged down up at the 17-yard line. With the lights and everything on television, you can always make it look like it's a monsoon.
Tripping, number 70 of the defense, 10 yards, first down.
Lance Legree.
That's one of the things the Giants are trying to do with their defense is roll in those defensive linemen. So now you see Lance Legree, he's number 70. William Joseph is also in there, number 94. And you see they're the two guys. Here's Legree right here. He's the guy that they call the tripping penalty on. See, he makes a pretty good move there. Then he over pursues. Then when you over pursue, you do what you call a kickback. And then when you kick back and they see it, then they call that tripping.
First and 10. They have Gennaro DiNapoli in its center right now. Matt Lair started the game for the Cowboys. Hambrick turns back the other way, and it's finally Sean Williams who knocks him down. Broke out of a Dhani Jones tackle and won by Michael Strahan. Well, we see Hambrick, and that of course makes us think of Emmitt Smith, now at Arizona, and the leading rusher of nights he had against the Giants, including several on Monday night. There are his numbers for this season out in Arizona. The Cardinals blasted by Seattle yesterday and start the year 0-2. Second down and 13 up at the 23-yard line. Hambrick swings it to the outside, puts his shoulder into Peterson, who makes the tackle up at the 26. So Emmitt Smith, phenomenal numbers, obviously, and there it was on the left-hand side. 280, an NFL record, and on the right-hand side, by far the most rushing yardage in the history of Monday Night Football. He gained over 2,400 yards on Monday Night Football.
You know, he played a game in here that was the most courageous game I think I've ever seen by a running back. He had a shoulder, and then he just kept running, and there was only one time that I've ever gone in a locker room to talk about a player, to a player after a game. That was here to Emmitt Smith.
And that was such a huge game at the end of the year as the screen pass for Kaysen is incomplete. So the Giant defense rises up, and they'll get the ball in what should be good field position. And I recall, that was, I think, the last game of the season for the Cowboys. They had to win it.
And they had to win that, and they had to have Emmitt Smith in there. And I went in the locker room, and he was laying out on the table, and he had ice bags all over his body. And I just said, I just want to shake your hand. And they let me in, and I just shook his hand and walked out. But it's the only time I've ever done that.
Toby going to punt. Floating short kick. Giants let it bounce, and Goen gets another big roll. So that goes 15 yards on the ground alone, 29 in the air, 44-yard kick. You know, John, I was thinking about the fact that Jerry Jones was able to get Bill Parcells to coach his team. He met him in Jerry's jet at Teterboro Airport, which is just up the road here. Just the two. I think if some owner tried to get you to come back to coach, I don't think he'd meet you in a jet. Do you?
As long as it doesn't leave the ground. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he came out here, and Jerry Jones stayed on the ground and talked to Bill Parcells. And it was interesting. Talking to Bill Parcells last night, he said that Jerry Jones just talked to him, didn't offer him the job. I said, but at that time, did you know you would take the job if he did? And he said, yeah, I knew if he offered me the job, I was going to take it after that meeting.
And that pass is knocked down by Terrence Newman. Isn't it interesting, too, you know, when you think about it, John, that, you know, Bill said after the '99 season, write it down on your chalkboard, I won't come back. And then, of course, he changes his mind. He almost changed his mind at Tampa Bay. And I mean, he could have coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and might have taken them to the Super Bowl last season.
Yeah, and as you said earlier, you know, that he just loves football, and I think he's one of those guys that when he's in it, he has so much stress he can't live with it, and when he's outside, he can't live without it.
2nd and 10. I think that's well put. Tiki Barber to the 31. Yeah, you go through periods, and he had the health issue with his heart, and that's why he left the Giants after the '90 season, 4 years in New England. And the facial expressions have been the same through the years.
Yeah, but he likes this when he has Greg Ellis making another play like this in his run, coming down there against Bobert, taking him on, holding that hole, and then just waiting for the ball to come to you. That's the way you play run when they're running at you.
3rd and 9 from the 31-yard line. Collins under pressure and has it intercepted at the 40-yard line by Al Singleton. And the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer takes it into the end zone. Alshimon Singleton, who has a Super Bowl ring with last year's Bucs, runs it back 41 yards for a touchdown.
And Kerry Collins threw that one right into coverage. That was a 3-man rush, 8 men in coverage. And of course, anytime you get 8 men, you're going to have a whole bunch of doubles, and you're going to have a whole bunch of free guys. On that play, it was Al Singleton.
As a rookie in '97 with the Bucs, he scored a touchdown, and that's his first since then. So we've had 2 runbacks for touchdowns tonight, 1 for each side. It was 7-0 Giants early, and now with Cundiff's extra point, it's 20-7. And the Dallas Cowboys have come in and stunned this Meadowlands crowd.
This is a 3-man line, and we're going to see Al Singleton. We got the 2 linebackers right here, a 3-man line, just a 3-man rush. In fact, they get pretty good pressure on Kerry Collins. But you see, he's throwing into 8. Al Singleton is just backing up. He's just playing zone. He's just free right there, and Kerry Collins throws it right to him. But that is tough, you know, especially when you get that kind of pressure with just a 3-man rush. You see, he holds, he waits, and right now he has to throw the ball. Or throws it to the wrong guy.
Greg Ellis was the guy who came in, number 98, who's had a big first half, who helped force the issue.
You're right. He's had a big first half, and not only on the pressure, the pass rushing, but he's also had on the running game.
That's some shot, isn't it?
He's saying it wasn't supposed to happen like this. LT looks like he's in shock. The Giants sideline looks like they're in shock, and the fans look like they're in shock. Kerry Collins saying to himself, I got to do better.
Jim Fossil can't afford to be in shock. Barber fumbled earlier. That helped set up a field goal. 20 unanswered points for the Dallas Cowboys.
Jim Fossil has a tough job because, again, you know, we keep going back to those 3 rookie offensive linemen. Barber moving the tackle.
Up to the 28-yard line. Well, Darren Woodson has been around for a dozen years, owns 3 Super Bowl rings. So who better to talk about the effect of Bill Parcells on the Dallas Cowboys?
When he came in, everything changed. You know, guys came in, we understood it wasn't just, you know, we weren't just going to have fun in the off-season. You know, the off-season program started on time. He was in the weight room all the time. He helped us watch film and show guys, you know, and taught guys how to watch film and understand what to look for. So everything changed. And, you know, I think that's going to breed a winner sooner or later. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know he'll breed a winner here.
From the 28-yard line after the Woodson remarks. Collins throws, and that's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Low throw. Willie Blade is there. And, you know, John, we talked to Woodson last night. I was asking him about, you know, how Bill comes in and he gets on Larry Allen's case. And Woodson said, no one's off limits. That's what he was telling us.
And I think that's why Bill Parcells did that. I mean, you go and you go after the star players, and then all the other guys looking and say, if he goes after Larry Allen, he's going to go after any and all of us. Of course, Darren Woodson, he said he's on him all the time, too. But there's not a guy that's, you know, works a heck of a lot harder than Darren Woodson, who's more dedicated to this game. He would never be a problem guy for you.
They spread it out on 2nd and 10. Collins all for his last 5 and make it a half dozen now, including a pick. And I Killian was the intended receiver. More Darren Woodson coming your way right here.
He told me in front of the entire team the first day is, you know, he said, Woodson, you're going to have to prove yourself. You get to prove every down that you can still play this game. And, you know, he basically challenged me in front of the team. And I understood where he was coming from. I knew that, you know, when him coming in, he didn't know who I was. He, you know, he'd heard of me, but he never saw me play, never knew what kind of person I was. So going out to camp and going out to practice, I had to prove myself and prove to him that I could still play.
He also said, he said, it's work now. Parcells gets everything out of you every day.
I don't think that would take Darren Woodson very long to prove himself.
3rd down and 10, and getting wide open is Amani Toomer, who had to turn around to make the catch. He was looking inside. The pass went outside. Great adjustment by Toomer, and the Giants are back in business inside the 35-yard line.
And it was a heck of a lousy adjustment by Roy Williams. The ball's in the air, and you have to locate it. Now watch, this is a cover 2. The corner's going to bump. He's going to let him go. Roy Williams, 31. You see what happened to him? He got a move on him. He got the step. He's the guy. He has to get over. He has to get over them. He gets held right there thinking it's a slant. Amani Toomer gets behind him. Then he can make those kind of adjustments.
And a milestone catch there for Toomer in Giant annals as Collins goes back to throw, and it's dropped out in the flat by Shanko. Frank Gifford, all of these years, has held the record for receiving yards by a Giant, which is pretty amazing since Frank was a defensive back and a running back for a lot of years. And there it is. Amani Toomer has just broken Frank's mark for receiving yards in a career.
And then he has his eye on receptions too, doesn't he?
He does. That's next. And then combined yardage, and a lot of Frank's marks will go down. But boy, you know, when you think of Frank and when he played, and for those marks to have withstood the test of time for so long, that's amazing.
And then you go back. I mean, Frank was one of those guys that could do everything.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, he could throw it, he could catch it, he could run it.
2nd and 10. Collins throws, and that's behind Tiki Barber. 3rd down.
You know, not to make excuse for Kerry Collins or anyone, but I wonder with this rain if those balls are a little wet. I mean, you know, quarterbacks have trouble with that because the brand new balls that they use are a little slick anyway, and then you add a little moisture to them, and sometimes as you let it go, they do some split finger stuff. You love in baseball, but you don't want out here.
3rd down, 3rd and 10, trying to keep the balls as dry as they can. Out of the gun, flanked by 2 backs. Set up the screen, flag thrown by the umpire. You know what that means. Roy Williams tackles Tiki Barber. Next thing you'll see will be a holding call. Aloha.
You know, there's certain times, you have to hold to protect your quarterback, but there's other times that you never want, and that's not a screen pass because what you're trying to do is you're trying to invite the rush anyway.
Offense, 10 yards, repeat 3rd down.
One of the rookies, David Deal. 5th round pick out of Illinois.
And David Deal is the right guard, and again, you can let the guy, I mean, you can give him a bump. Then if he starts to beat you because it's a screen pass, you're inviting a rush anyway, you can let him go.
23rd birthday for Deal as we come to the 2-minute warning. 3rd and long for the Giants when we come back. 27 Dallas. Been checked tonight. We rarely called his name. He's been not much of a factor.
I would want to explain that, though, Al. You get a broken toe and they stick a needle in your hand and your toe gets better.
I don't know.
Makes sense to some.
3rd down and 20. Collins floats one, and it's picked off by Newman, their #1 draft choice, and he's down. He gets up, and they're going to whistle him dead at the 20-yard line, and it's Delroy Stewart who came in and put the pressure on Kerry Collins that time.
And he was hit just as he threw it. He was trying to get it to Jeremy Shockey. As we said, Shockey hasn't caught a pass yet, and he'll get a little frustrated, but you don't want to force the ball to him. You see Shockey out here, he's working, then he comes up, then he's going to the outside to the corner, and he just falls down just before the ball gets here. Newman was just playing zone defense. See, he's just sitting there waiting, playing that outside zone, and Collins throws it right to him. But this is why. I mean, he has to throw it right now. He has to get rid of the ball. Shockey falls down. He was probably trying to throw it, or should have been trying to throw it out of bounds.
Newman was the 5th overall pick in the draft. Very rare for a defensive back to be picked that high. They loved him out of Kansas State. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And here's Hambrick taken down after a gain of 1. Barrow and Jones are there. And right now the Giants will take a timeout to try to pin him and force a punt. Let's take a look at the game recap here. Early on, Carter threw one out into the flat, and it was picked off by Ralph Brown for his first career touchdown. But back they came, set up by a very good run back by Zuriel Smith, and it was paid off on that run by Carter. And then the pick right there by Singleton takes it in for a touchdown, and it is 20-7. 2 Cunda field goals along the way, and the Cowboys on top by 13.
Yeah, we were talking to Bill Parcells last night about the development of the Cowboys and where he thought they were, and he said, I'm not sure exactly, you know how he talks, I'm not sure exactly where we are, but I'll tell you one thing, a win tonight would cure a lot of ills.
It would, and they have an off week, and then they come right back here to meet the Jets in 2 weeks. So think about this. In the month of September, Bill Parcells, the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, will coach 1 game at Texas Stadium and 2 games at Giant Stadium.
And he knows his way around Giant Stadium a heck of a lot more than Texas Stadium.
2nd and 9. And this is Hambrick, and Hambrick picks up the first down before he moves out of bounds. And the Giants had taken that timeout, and now all of a sudden the Cowboys start to mount a drive. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 38. Snickers, home of the weekly Hungriest Player Award. HP Technology, services and people help make more things more possible. And Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Speaking of Bud, Budweiser providing tonight's aerial coverage at the Meadowlands. 1st and 10 now from the 30-yard line. They give it to Hambrick. He gets taken down at the 31-yard line. Sean Williams makes the tackle.
You know, speaking of Bud, I want to show you a guy that really blocks. That Larry Allen. I mean, they can say that, you know, he's kind of worn down. Yeah, but just watch him. Whenever he gets on you, you are going to go this way. I mean, he is so big and so strong and so powerful. Watch, he gets his hands, and then he just starts running. And you look, I mean, you don't take a defensive lineman and knock him 8 yards deep unless you're Larry Allen.
Kenny Holmes 8 yards deep and about 20 yards wide.
And he's saying that guy doesn't have to tell me that he can bench press 700 pounds. I know that he can do it. It's like, you know, how many guys do you think are in football right now that are active that are the best at their position that ever played? I think there's 2 in my mind.
Larry
Allen, I think, and the other one's Jerry Rice. I think that are playing right now that are active.
Sure.
I think could be the best players that ever played their position.
2nd down and 9 from the 31-yard line. And that's caught by Richie Anderson. And Anderson actually does the Giants a little bit of a favor here by going out of bounds, because the Giants had just taken a timeout as they try to get the ball back. The Cowboys, the last 2 times they led the Giants by 13 or more points at the half. The Giants came back to win each game in 2000. And then the following year as well, the Cowboys led at the half 24-7. Giants win the game. So the Giants have been here before.
And I think they're, you know, again, going back to that offensive line with Tiki Barber not being able to run. I think they're having a tough time having any offensive consistency. And if there's anything that they can do at halftime, any adjustments, anything Jim Fossil can come up with, you know, he's going to have to do that to get some consistency in this offense.
Well, Barber has carried 9 times for 15 yards tonight. Last week he had more than 140. He's also caught only 1 ball for 6 yards. The big play for the Giants was the Toomer catch.
Right, and the thing that kills them is they don't have any points. They have 3 turnovers.
3 turnovers. They're down to 1 timeout. The Cowboys just took this timeout. The clock was stopped anyway.
They only have 5 first downs in the first half, and they're averaging 3.3 yards per play. So, you know, they're not able to run it. So that puts a little more pressure on the offense and the play calling and the offensive line. And then when they do pass it, then the Cowboys are just teeing off with a 3-man line and covering with 8.
3rd down and 7. Galloway is the motion man. Carter steps up, throws, have the first down. And Terry Glenn steps out of bounds up at the 47. And now the Cowboys can begin to think about moving downfield into field goal position, and they have one timeout remaining.
And that's what I think. I mean, earlier the Giants wanted to take timeout to see if they could get the ball back, and then Dallas gets a couple of first downs, and now it's Dallas that's trying to slow it down to get in position to kick a field goal. This is a thing that Quincy Carter can do. I mean, he can move in the pocket and throw the ball from bootleg, from play action, or just stepping up and finding lanes.
1st and 10. The Cowboys now go from running out the clock to trying to score, and it's caught over the middle by Glenn. And Glenn is inside the 30-yard line. He's taken down at about the 25 with a minute and ticking remaining.
Yeah, you would think in this situation that play action shouldn't work, but it does work. He starts off here with a play action pass. You see the fake? That holds the line a little, holds the linebackers a little, and he throws a strike in there to Terry Glenn. It's funny that the Giants defense was playing run. I mean, in this situation, I would think that, you know, I would be rushing the passer, but they had 8 men in the box. I mean, they had 8 men up there, and they gave him a play fake, and Terry Glenn's wide open.
Took the Cowboys a long time to get to the line here at the 26-yard line, and that is Richie Anderson. And with running that play, they'll be content to settle for 3. They take a timeout, which is their final. Maybe they'll take one shot at the end zone or a couple of shots at the end zone here and then settle for a Cundiff field goal at worst.
I've always felt that that's what you do in this situation. I know it'll be interesting to see what Bill Parcells feels. You'd like to have a timeout, but if you don't, I think if you take a shot, you should take it in the end zone. And then the guy's either open or you throw it away. And then if you have to, then you try your field goal. Because if you don't take the shot in the end zone, then it's a one-way go. By taking a shot in the end zone, and then you have that shot plus a field goal, you kind of have a two-way go.
Parcells looked exorcised. I don't know whether he was upset because it took so long to run the play or whether Carter ran the wrong or whatever. But Bill was, as always, lets his feelings be known.
Well, yeah, see, there's Sean Payton now talking to Quincy Carter. Bill Parcells is talking. They all have the play sheet, and then Quincy Carter has the plays on a wristband, so they can just give him like a number, you know, like run number 7, and then, you know, he didn't get the play out in time on that last one.
You need Ted Williams' eyesight to read that wristband. 2nd down and 9 at the 26-yard line. Giants show blitz. Here they come. Pressure on Carter. He just dumps it off. And Anderson was in the neighborhood, so there'll be no flag. Keith Hamilton applied the most pressure.
Yeah, and that's what you do when you get this situation. Now you know it's a pass, so you want to blitz him and see if you can get him and then knock him out of field goal range, because the Cowboys are in field goal range now. You see that they were going to go for it, so you want to come with the big pass rush.
If they gain nary a yard here, it would be a 43 to 44-yard field goal attempt.
And the Giants are going to smother him. They're not going to let him stand back there and take a shot in the end zone.
Worst thing would be to complete a pass over the middle and not get a first down. You wouldn't have time on 4th down to spike it. Carter stepping up, and that's caught out here by Glenn, and he stays in bounds, and there's a flag down. There's a flag down. Otherwise, exactly what I had just said would have happened. He would have been in bounds. It would have been 4th down, and with 9 seconds left, good luck getting the field goal team out there and ready to kick. And so,
number 73 of the offense, 10 yards. Repeat, 3rd down.
In a way, in a strange way, that actually helps them, because I don't think they could have gotten everybody onto the field and kicked the field goal there.
No, they couldn't have, and it does help them. I mean, but it puts the ball 10 yards back. And kind of how about the 49er game yesterday?
Yep.
I mean, they catch a pass, but they had a timeout left. They didn't get the timeout call.
Right. Running in the middle of the field.
You can't throw the ball in the middle of the field when you have no timeouts left.
53-yard field goal attempt, especially if you can't get out of bounds, because that was the only way they were going to have enough time left on the clock.
They don't have a ball in there. There, they finally got a ball. That's tough to snap or hold or kick when you don't have one.
So a 43-yard attempt becomes a 53-yard attempt now for Cundiff. And Cundiff's kick is wide to the left. Had the look of a kick that would have been good from 43. So that was a bad play call on 3rd down. 4 seconds remaining. Michael Strahan again. We'll take a look at his week leading up to the Monday night game, and then we'll take a look at next week's game in Denver. It's always so much fun to do a Raider Bronco game. I mean, they never disappoint you.
Oh yeah, and you remember last year. I mean, we go in there and the Raiders had lost 4 in a row, and Rich Gannon was darn near perfect. What did he have, like 20 for 21 or something like that? 22 for 23?
I think it was 21 in a row, I believe.
I mean, some big-time obnoxious numbers.
Obnoxious, you were a Bronco fan. The kneel down by Collins. We're in New Jersey, but it's the Bronx cheer for the Giants as they head off the field. At one point, they led 7-0, but they trail here 20-7. And coming up next is the Lexus halftime show. After this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations. Dallas Cowboys come into the Big Apple, lead 20-7, and they'll get the ball as we begin the second half. Terry Collins was 7 of 21 for 100 yards in the first half. Matt Bryant to kick off for the Giants, and Zuriel Smith making his NFL debut tonight. 6th-round choice from Hampton University is back to receive the kickoff, which will bounce out of bounds at the 3-yard line, and so the flag goes down. They'll start at the 40-yard line on Bryant's errant kick. And let's check in with Lisa Guerrero. Lisa?
Hey, Al, I talked to a very frustrated Jim Fossil at halftime. He said, quote, "We can't protect Kerry. We can't run. We can't throw. We've got to do a better job up front." He also said we've got to get our running game going. If we want to get back into the game, that is going to be the starting point. Al?
No question about that, because Barber was 9 of 15. Collins 1 for -1. So the Giants 14 rushing yards in the opening half, and Barber had a fumble as well.
And those are all things that are going to help your pass protection. Elisa was just talking about that. You know, you have to go some more maximum pass protection. Then you have to get your running game going. Then you can do some play action pass.
Hambrick, gain of 1. Sean Williams to tackle. We heard Jim Fossil saying that Strahan piece during the middle of the week. Boy, if we practice and play like that, we'll get beat. We'll get our butts beat, and that's what's been happening in the first half. 3 turnovers by the Giants, one of which was returned by Singleton for a touchdown.
Dallas has really played well, and part of it has been their execution. The other part of it, I think, has just been that they're beating them to the punch. They're beating the Giants to the punch.
2nd and 9. The pass is caught. Then Antonio Bryan makes his first catch of the night. He had to wait for it. He got free. The pass was underthrown and a little bit low, but he was right there, and it's a 25-yard gain.
You know, we talked so much about the Giant offensive line and what they had to do. The first half, the Cowboy offensive line really played well. Now watch Larry Allen. This is why I say that, you know, he is so big and so strong, and when he punches you, you stay stopped. In fact, you start to get jacked up a little.
You stay punched.
It can take a quarter out of you.
Hambrick. Nice tackle there by Dhani Jones, being of 1.5 yards.
Yeah, and that's what the Cowboys, you know, over the years have always done. I mean, when they had Emmitt Smith, they'd always run to the left side behind Larry Allen. And then when they wanted to run to the right, like they just did on that last play, they would pull Larry Allen. So they either had him a man blocking, or they would have him pulling to the right and leading the play.
There is Larry Allen, 10th year for the Sonoma State. 2nd down and 9. Actually, not quite so little. A lot of kids go to school there. Little roll to the left, and that's caught out in the front here by Jason Witten, the tight end, and he is thrust out of bounds inside the 20 at the 18-yard line.
You know, and Jim Fossil was talking about have to be able to run, and that's why. You know, when you get a little running going, your offensive line dominates, then you can fake that run, and then you can bootleg. That's the type of thing that Fossil would like you to see. You fake the run to the right, then you bootleg out here to the left, and then you have a guy wide open because they're reacting to run.
1st and 10 now at the 18-yard line. Opening drive of the second half, and Hambrick goes to the outside. A little stiff arm there, and that nets him 3 more yards and put a hand in the face of William Peterson. And there is Bill when he leads by 13 or more in the half in his career. 38-2.
You know why? Because he knows how to coach. I mean, he knows how to coach with a lead. You just start, pressing with your defense. You start slowing everything down on offense. You start running the ball, taking your time, running time off the clock. All those types of things he knows very well.
And Foster with the look of a guy down by 13 and watching his defense be pushed back. And then Carter loses the football. And the Giants need a big break, but it's Carter who comes up with it.
Yeah, I think that's the type of thing that drives Bill Parcells crazy is you just start feeling good about Quincy Carter, and he's doing all the things, he's making the throws, he's making the run, and then you have to take care of the ball. I mean, here he is, he steps here, has good pressure with his offhand, and well, that's not his fault. I mean, that when he goes to throw and it came out the back door on him. That's what we were talking earlier. Maybe these balls, they get to be wet and then they're slick anyway, and they do take some funny rounds coming out.
Arm was coming forward, but that was a fumble. 3rd down and 17. Little misdirection play here. That's Avian Kaysen as he sets them up for what will be about a 41-yard field goal attempt.
That's what I was just talking about, Bill Parcells knowing how to coach with a win. Run time off the clock. You get in that 3rd down position, just take the run and then take the field goal.
No wind right now. Normally it's swirling here, especially kicking toward the tunnel at the north end.
That's pretty cool, that graphic. How that goes up there between the pipes.
Spotted at the 32, so it's a 42-yard attempt, and it's perfect. Cundiff tacks on 3. And the Dallas lead is now 23-7.
Hair products on the sideline.
Get a manicure.
With some of those things, you wonder what they are. Mastisol, for example, what would that be? Pain off. That's a good one. Back quell. Migraine. I know what that is.
No cologne.
Band-Aids, Mitraflex, cold tabs, anything.
At the 9-yard line. And he brings it up to the 31-yard line as the Giants have the ball for the first time now in the second half. How have things been going for some of the bigger names? Collins averaging less than 5 yards per pass attempt. Tiki, of course, averaging 1.7 plus a fumble. And Toomer caught the 2 balls, one of which was thrown to the outside when he looked at the inside. Meanwhile, on the other side, Carter, efficient. Hambrick, he's playing better than that would indicate. Well, I'm surprised looking at those numbers. And meanwhile, Shockey has been held to nothing for New York. And now Barber is able to reel one off for close to 10 up to the 41-yard line.
And some of those playmakers for the Giants are going to have to start making plays. I mean, they can't rely on Kerry Collins to take a 5 or 7 step drop or get back there in the shotgun or get in those 3rd and long, sit back there and find guys open deep. I mean, they're going to have to get quicker plays, those types of runs from Tiki Barber on 1st down to create these 2nd and short and 3rd and short situations.
2nd and 1 here. And Barber picks up the 1st down. Brian Mitchell in the backfield leading the way.
When you think of Brian Mitchell, he's just a football player. Over the years, he's a great return guy, kickoff, punt returner, kickoff coverage, punt coverage. But then you need a tailback, you put him in. You need a short yardage guy, you put Brian Mitchell in. You need a quarterback. I've seen him in this league play quarterback. He's an emergency quarterback. I think when you just define that guy number 30, you just say football player.
Before he's done, he will own a major record. And that is knocked down low throw by Greg Ellis. There's a category called combined yards, and that is it's rushing and receiving and returning both kickoffs and punts. Not to be confused with yards from scrimmage, which is just rushing and receiving. But before he's done, Mitchell will own that record. He will have gained more yardage than any player in history.
Right, and Kerry Collins was trying to throw him one there. And the tough thing about it is Tiki Barber has to block, and he has to block Greg Ellis, and that's not going to happen. I mean, he flops down, and then every defensive lineman is talking, when a guy tries to cut you, you go up. He goes down, you go up.
And that is caught over the middle. Hilliard got free. found the open spot over the middle and takes the ball inside the 40 of Dallas.
They were talking to Darren Woodson last night, and he was saying that anytime you get like 3rd and 5 or they need a play, the guy that they're going to go to is Ike Hilliard. And you see him here, again, the quickness. He just starts up in the zone, and then there's going to be a gap between the safety and the linebacker, and that's exactly where they went.
1st and 10 now from the 39-yard line. They run a reverse. They run a pitch back, and Collins is looking deep, but the coverage is very good, and the pass is incomplete, but a flag is down. Roy Williams was back there with Amani Toomer, and with interference on the call, if it's against Dallas, they'll have the ball at the 1, and it is.
And that's Roy Williams' problem. We saw that in the first half. Remember, a big play on him. That you have those hard-hitting safeties, but when you go that cover 2, then they have the deep, and they have to be able to locate the man and locate the ball in space. And you can see that Roy Williams didn't do that or couldn't do it. He's looking over his right shoulder, and then when he gets over his left shoulder, he has pass interference. That's a tough thing about those cover 2. You have hard-hitting safeties, but then when you put them in cover 2, they're the deep guys, and they have to be able to play the deep ball.
He was right there with him, gets the penalty. Collins now throws on the run, and Shockey drops a sure touchdown. Oh, baby.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, Shockey's hitting himself and saying, that's me. Heck, yes, it's you. Everyone knows that it's you.
Shockey's in shock. He had a similar play in the playoff game against the 49ers.
I think Kerry Collins is in shock. He's saying, what in the heck do I have to do to get things started? That is a perfect pass. I don't know what the heck that is. You know, the concentration, not looking at the ball. There's no defender there, nothing to distract you.
2nd and goal. They give it to Barber, and he gets taken down to the 5. So they go from 6 sure points to 3rd and goal from the 5. That win makes the tackle.
Remember last Monday night, the Philadelphia Eagles, they get down there, and they have a guy wide open, and they sputter, and then they can't get back.
Willie Blade comes limping off the tackle.
I mean, sometimes you drop passes because you're well covered, and sometimes you drop passes because there's no one covered. You're just wide open, and all you can do is look at your hands and laugh at yourself.
3rd down and goal now from the 5-yard line. Collins guns it, caught, touchdown, Hilliard.
I think if the Giants in their passing game have a go-to guy when you need a play, it's this guy right here, Ike Hilliard. He plays in the slot, and you see him, he comes down, and he's just taking a slant, gets that linebacker to react, and then he works off. That's an option play. If he jumps inside you, you go out. If he stays outside, you go in.
Meanwhile, this is the wrong call here. You should go for 2, get down by 8. He says they go for 1, and it's Matt Bryant. They could have made it a 1-possession game, but no. It's still a 2-possession game. It's a 9-point lead. 23-14 Dallas. 8:11 left in the 3rd. Smith brings it back to the 28-yard line. Tackled by David Tyree. The 2-point conversion rate last year was about 48% in the league, and we'll get back to that when we come back to the Meadowlands. 23-14 Dallas. At the altar of Ike Hilliard right now as he gets away with a drop. Hilliard scores. Talked about the 2-point decision. It's open to debate to a certain extent, but the point is, if you go for 2 there, it's a 1-possession deficit. Now they still have to get a touchdown, at least a field goal. The difference between 8 and 9 is about the same as the difference between 8 and 10, roughly. You still need 2 possessions. Either way, even if you miss the 2-point conversion, as Carter throws, and that's caught over the middle, by Glenn, who breaks out of a couple of tackles and takes the ball into Giant territory. And as was the case the last time the Cowboys were scored upon, they come out firing.
You know, and you talk about being able to throw a ball and what a good pass is. When you have a guy coming across and he doesn't have to break stride, that is an excellent pass. Now watch Terry Glenn. He's going to come across here and watch. He just gets that ball and he doesn't break stride, so he can keep that speed that he has going before he catches the ball. He can keep that same speed going. And then you got a bunch of blue jerseys chasing you.
1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Carter scrambles out of trouble initially and then is stopped for what turns out to be a 1-yard gain at the 44 by Brandon Short and Mike Barrow.
It looked like Michael Strahan had him. I mean, he got a good push up the middle. And then he comes off and then he's just going for him. Watch Strahan. He's going to come up. He gets by. Campbell's trying to block him. He gets by him. He runs right over the back. And then when he goes to get Quincy Carter, he's not there.
Strahan there. Giants rotate along that defensive front. William Joseph, 94, is in the game as well. He was their #1 draft choice out of Miami. And that timeout is called by the Cowboys. Play clock running down. Carter unsure of the call. 6.5 to go in the third. 9-point Dallas lead. 2nd and 10 after the Dallas timeout at the Giant 45-yard line. Carter steps up, going deep and turning around. A flag is down. Antonio Bryant made the catch. He was out of bounds. And the call is made deep downfield.
And I bet it's against Antonio Bryant, too. I bet that's offensive. Nope,
Well,
it's not.
Yeah, now the question becomes, and this is what the meeting is about, could he have caught it inbounds, or was the ball thrown out of bounds?
Pass interference.
It's going to be on 24, Peterson, if it is. But now the field judge and line judge are going to get together. The question is, could that ball have been caught inbounds by Bryant?
Pass interference, 24 defense, automatic first down.
And that's not reviewable.
And I think both of those guys were pushing off because, you know, they do call it on Will Peterson, but I saw Bryant push off too. I don't know what it is yet. Right there, you see Bryant push off with his right hand. I still say is offense. That was not defense.
Yeah.
Because when I saw it raw eyes, I said that's going to be on offense. And you can see it right there. It is on offense.
Sure.
In fact, Will Peterson doesn't run that. He puts his hands down so that he won't get called.
Exactly. Bad call.
Yeah, Fossil's right on this one.
And not reviewable.
No, I mean, it's tough to be a corner in this league when they make calls on you like that.
Here's Hamburg to the outside. Spun down by Stoppmeyer. And you'll see Jim and Fossil has every right to be crazy about that call.
Yeah, but you never get the guy that called it.
Right.
You know, you always get the guy over on the other side, and he's always telling you, I don't know what the guy saw. That wasn't my call. But the guy who it was his call makes a terrible call.
Right. The head linesman is 75 yards away from that call right now. The field judge has the best view right there.
That's as bad as it gets.
2nd down and 10 at the 11-yard line. Carter over the middle, and that's incomplete. Intended for Dan Campbell, the tight end. 3rd down.
Yeah, and that's Mike Barrow, the middle linebacker, making a good move down there, because what you do down here is the middle linebacker is going to take away that middle. So he just starts down the middle, and anyone that comes into it is a play that he has to make. And that was Mike Barrow doing it on that one. You know, an interesting thing is 2 series ago, I saw Keith Hamilton, the hammer, take himself out, put his hand up, walk off the field, and he hasn't been in there since. I'm not sure if he's hurt or what the deal is with him, because, you know, right now they need a fresh tackle, and he would be that guy.
They have Joseph, 94, their 1st-round pick. He puts a little pressure on. Kaysen takes the screen, slips a tackle, and then gets inside the 5 to the 2-yard line. Avian Kaysen, who had 2 big plays last week against Atlanta.
Because he has great speed and he has great quickness. I remember when He was with the Rams, and then he went to Kansas City. He was on their practice squad. Then he went to Detroit. And I remember I was there the day that Detroit picked him up, and Matt Miller was talking about how great a player this is, you know, how quick he is and how fast he is. And he said he's going to be something special, and I'm surprised he's playing for Dallas.
Now it's 4th down, and it sets up a 21-yard field goal attempt. And that's good. So Billy Cundiff bangs it through, and that's a 12-point lead. So a touchdown, a 2-pointer, and a field goal. Still not enough for the Giants, going back to that earlier call on their conversion. 12-point Dallas lead.
No matter.
Giants will get the ball now at the 6-yard line. Brian Mitchell right up the middle, taken down up at the 31-yard line.
You know, Jerry Mishaki's not exactly sure whether to go with gloves or no gloves. Or is it the gloves or is what's inside the gloves? Much early in the game, you see he has on gloves, he drops the ball. So he said, to heck with that. He takes off the gloves. Now he doesn't have any gloves on, and he says, that's the thing that doesn't work. So now he's still looking at the hands, he's still laughing, can't believe it, and he puts the gloves back on. Now that is a head case. When you're thinking way too much for this game.
Guilty. End around Hilliard, and that's enough for a first down before he's taken down by the defensive end, Ekubon.
Well, I think you're just in denial. You know, it's not me. It's not my hands. It's not these things. These things have been with me for a long time, and they're good. So it has to be what's over these things.
And he has great hands. I mean, he proved that last year with 74 receptions.
Yeah, and that's why I say right now he's a head case. I talked to his mother the other day. She was at practice, and she said, you know, he was a good kid, and, you know, small town, family, and worked hard.
Collins to the outside and incomplete.
And then after all that, at the end, you know, after, you know, how good he was, there's his mom right there. She said, he wasn't easy to raise, you know.
What a shock.
I never imagined that he would. But she was going through, you know, like she got carried away. All was good. You know, he was a hard worker. He worked for everything he got. We come from a small town, you know, family, everyone together. And she paused. But he wasn't an easy one to raise, you know.
You think he was grounded more than he was ungrounded as a kid?
I don't know that he's grounded yet.
Yes, 2nd and 10. And that's incomplete. That phrase has two meanings, whether you're grounded in life or when a kid gets grounded, it means he can't go out.
No, I'm sure that he was always grounded.
Yep.
Like someone just threw a football at him. Did you see that? He's just walking back to the huddle and the football hit him in the back. That's what happens when you don't catch one. They start throwing at your name.
3rd and 10 now at the 44-yard line. Under 4 to play, 3rd period.
Giants have opportunity and field position, and this is one of them here.
And 3 rookies on the offensive line for the Giants. Collins throws, and that's incomplete. Crowd looks around. Everybody wants flags. Don't get it. Good double coverage that time. Intended for Shanko, the tight end. And Pete Hunter and Roy Williams had him in a vice.
You know, Jerry Collins is back there, and he has to get rid of the ball. Here's Shanko. He's the inside receiver there, running a slot, and they try and run him right up that seam. I'll tell you, there wasn't much of a hole in the seam on that one.
Fiegels to punt. Zuriel Smith to run it back. High floater. Smith came in as if he was ready to call for a fair catch, but runs into trouble, and then the ball skitters all the way into the end zone for a touchback. So the Giants had their opportunity. Smith was coming up. Couldn't tell if he made a complete fair catch signal or not, but then he couldn't get to the ball. And as long as it didn't hit a Cowboy first and rolls into the end zone, it's a touchback. And let's check in with Lisa.
Al, I have an injury update for you on defensive tackle. Keith Hamilton of the Giants. Now, he has a pulled hamstring. He is out for the game, and that is bad news for the Giants because he is the most senior member of the New York Giants right now.
Keith Hamilton, 12th year out of Pittsburgh, and that means we'll see a lot more of William Joseph, their #1 draft choice from Miami.
And Keith Hamilton was in there, and while before he pulled that hamstring, he wasn't doing a lot. I mean, you didn't hear his name called. And again, I think you go back to the middle of that offensive line, and you go back to Larry Allen and kind of dominating those tackles in there.
So the Cowboys with a 12-point lead as Carter starts this drive with a throw to the left side to Glenn, and Glenn loses the ball out of bounds, but after he had come up with it. They're gonna spot it at the 24-yard line. That's where the ball went out of bounds. So it's a completion, and then Glenn will wind up with a 4-yard gain.
Can't you just feel Quincy Carter getting more and more confident, and his team getting more and more confidence in him? That's the second throw. Remember, I was talking about how he hit Glenn on the run where he didn't have to break stride. He did the same thing on that last pass. I mean, Terry Glenn did not have to break stride to catch that ball.
Absolutely. Johnny can feel it. And then Carter has the lead in control. 2nd and 6. He gives it to Hambrick. He busts one for a first down. Up to the 35-yard line. William Peterson with the tackle. And so Bill Parcells comes in. And, of course, John, that was the big story in the offseason, the hiring of Parcells. Everybody's saying, it can't work. 2 strong-willed guys. But, you know, I think my feeling was when there's a 6 in front of your age, as there is with Parcells at 62, and Jerry just turned 60 last year, I think you come into a different space.
And I agree with you 100% that you know, maybe 10 years ago, when they were both in their 50s, it wouldn't have worked. But right now, it will work.
Richie Anderson to the 37-yard line. And, you know, when you talk about the 2 guys who desperately want to win, there's no question about it. Dallas on top. Giants took the early lead on a Brown interception return, but then the Cowboys ran off 23 unanswered points. Giants countered with a touchdown. Dallas added a field goal, 26-14. 2nd down and 8.
Flag got to be on William Joseph, the defensive tackle. You know, there's a time where you want to get off on the ball, and if you get, you know, a split second.
94 defense, 5 yards, repeat 2nd down.
You know, and how that happens, I'm never sure, except he must have seen something move, because when you're down there, here's Joseph, and here's your head, and you're looking right at the ball, how can you leave before the ball snaps? I mean, that's an easy drill. I mean, you put a guy right down there in a stance, and you just look at the ball. You just watch the ball. When the ball comes, you go. But you can't go before the ball comes. That's pretty elementary, I think.
2nd down and 3.
101, 1-8.
No gain here. Strahan makes the tackle.
And you can just feel the thing we were talking about earlier, where Bill Parcells just slowing this game down. Taking your time, getting the play in there, running the ball, keeping the clock going, get this game into the 4th quarter.
And few have done it as efficiently as he has through the years, and in big games.
And in big games in this building, as they call it, or on this field, or whatever you say. But he's won a lot of big ones here.
3rd down and 3 from the 42-yard line. Carter, and he finds the open man, and that's Antonio Bryant. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, there are 3 outstanding receivers. I mean, Carter's got Galloway, he's got Antonio Bryant, and he's got the other receiver as well, Terry Glenn, along with an up-and-coming Randall Williams.
You know, and again, he hits Antonio Bryant, and this is where, you know, you talk about what is consistency and what is being able to put the ball on a guy, and that's what Quincy Carter is doing. Looks like he's limping there a little, though, doesn't he?
Well, he's got Mike Barrow smacked him.
Yeah, but I mean, he has been very, very accurate.
15 of 22, 200 yards through the air for him. 1st and 10. Through the middle. Choking for a couple is Hambrick, tackled by Barrow, and that's going to do it for the 3rd quarter. So through 3, it is Dallas 26 and the New York Giants 14. And ABC's Monday Night Football continues from the Meadowlands after this message and a word from our ABC station. Knows how to control the game with a lead. There's the evidence. When leading by 12 or more points going into the fourth quarter, he is undefeated, 49-0.
And therein probably lies the reason why he wanted to slow things down and get this game into the fourth quarter, as he just did.
Second down and 8 now at the 34-yard line. Al Michaels, John Madden, Lisa Guerrero in the Meadowlands, where Dallas is trying to shock the Giants. And a whistle before the play starts. Full start.
42 offense, 5 yards, still second down.
You know, one of the reasons I think, John, the NFL has become America's favorite sport. I mean, the first 2 weeks, classic examples. How in the world does Houston beat Miami? Tampa looks so good. Then the next week, you know, Tampa loses to Carolina. Then the Cowboys come in here with an inferior team and might beat the Giants tonight. Cincinnati almost beats Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said that sometimes the NFL stands for never figure league.
Yeah.
And especially early in the season, you know, I mean, all we have to go on is what happened last year, but there's so many changes during the offseason that you don't know who the power is until about halfway through the season.
2nd and 13, that's a flag because there wasn't an eligible receiver in the area. Carter was just throwing it away, and only linemen were there.
See the guy that it hit, though? I don't know how it could miss him. I mean, if you have Larry Allen, he is so massive and so dominant.
The pass hit number 73, 5 yards, repeat second down.
But sometimes if you keep a ball low and you look at Larry Allen, you say, how in the heck can you miss number 73? I mean, he's throwing there. He feels a rush, and he's going to get rid of the ball. And if you're going to get hit, that's where you want to get hit, where you got the most padding. He is a big, strong man.
He's a little gassed right now. Second down and 18.
If you got hit there, you would be too.
Yes. Yes, after running around for 2.5 hours. You know, I'm wondering if they're not thinking about calling intentional grounding here, which would be a more severe penalty than ineligible receiver. That may be what the discussion is about.
Well, it was intentional grounding that hit an ineligible receiver.
But the penalty for intentional grounding is worse than it is for ineligible receiver.
Right, and if there's no receiver in that area, then it should be intentional grounding.
It was called by Austin illegal touch initially.
The penalty is being declined. The Giants thought it carried a loss of down. They were going to accept the penalty. It does not carry a loss of down. Therefore, they want to decline the penalty. We go back to the previous spot. Third down.
You see, that's why the intentional grounding would have been more beneficial to the Giants, because that does have a loss of down.
That's a loss of down, right?
Yep.
So then they thought it was a loss of down, and then an ineligible receiver is not loss of down.
Third down now and 13, and that's the reason, as Austin explained, why the penalties decline. Big defensive stop coming up here for the Giants. Ton of time for Carter, and then throws incomplete, but here comes a flag. Glenn and Sean Williams are involved. Terry Glenn, the receiver, Sean Williams, the DB.
You know what the Giants are saying? They're saying that the ball was tipped, and if the ball were to be tipped, there can't be pass interference.
Defense, automatic first down.
It's on Sean Williams. Again, I don't know that he would have caught that ball anyway.
Thrown high. Parcells waiting for the replay, and here it comes.
And you watch Sean Williams here. He just doesn't time this thing up. I mean, he's in pretty good position, and he just goes a little early. And in going early, he got there before the ball got there.
So third and long becomes 1st and 10 now at the 21-yard line, and Hambrick is taken down by Sean Williams.
Yeah, we talked about Larry Allen, and now he's kind of dominated, and you know, he's dominated the pass protection. And you just see why. I mean, he's so big and so strong that his guy, and there's Keith Hamilton there, pull the hamstring. He's not going to get off the line of scrimmage. And then when he gets his hands on you and he gets you going backwards, you're going to go backwards. When you start to come in a blitz and he gets his hands on you, you're going to get stopped. I mean, he might not be the Larry Allen of old, but I'll tell you, he's pretty good.
They give it to Kaysen on 2nd down and 10, and Avian takes it down to the 19-yard line. 3rd and 8 upcoming. 7 Pro Bowls in 2 different positions for number 73. That's pretty good. All-decade team of the 90s. Last year, injury-plagued season.
And there was some talk that maybe his body just got worn out, you know, that there was no more left in him. But I say this, that I would take 50% of the gas in Larry Allen's tank, and he's still better than 90% of the guards in this league.
That's a good way to put it. And the play clock is rolling all the way down again, and this is going to force Carter to take another timeout. And that's their 2nd of the half. 26-14 Dallas. Back to the Big Apple. There's the Empire State Building, about 9 miles from the Meadowlands across the Hudson River. And Dallas on top by 12. Took the timeout there. They're down to just 1 timeout, and a big play here on both sides of the ball. 3rd down and 8 at the 19-yard line. Swing it out to Anderson, and Michael Barrow says no, sir. So they'll have to settle for a 3-point attempt by Cundiff coming up, and that will be in the neighborhood of 39 yards.
You know, the big thing about that drive, we're talking about Bill Parcells and winning and knowing how to slow and manage the game. That drive took about 6 minutes off the clock. So if they get 3 points here, it's a 3-point drive plus 6 minutes off the clock.
Make it a 36-yard field goal attempt for Cundiff, with Toby going to hold. Under 13 to play. This would make it a 15-point lead. And Goen gets it down. Cundiff bangs it through, and it's 29-14 Dallas. Toby Goen to kick off. Bouncing at the 15, fielded by Brian Mitchell. And he runs it back out to the 31.
You know, one thing about Bill Parcells is he's animated, and he's going to coach all the time. You can be ahead by a couple touchdowns, but when he has something on his mind, it doesn't make any difference who you are. You can be the running back, you can be the backup tackle, or you can be the quarterback that you're relying on. That's what he's doing with Quincy Carter right now. That was that timeout.
Doesn't matter what point in the game it is either. From the 31-yard line, Collins, low throw caught by Barber, and they really neutralized Tiki tonight, who's carried 12 times for 23 yards, and that's only his 2nd catch of the night for 7 yards.
You know, we were talking to Darren Woodson last night. You know, that was the first thing he said. He said, if we're going to stop and control the Giants, he said it starts with Tiki Barber. He said you can't let Tiki Barber go wild on you. If you stop him, you can control the other things.
And that's exactly what they've done tonight. 2nd down and 9 at the 32-yard line. Slings it over the middle and behind Shockey, incomplete.
Shockey still hasn't caught a ball, has he?
No, he has not. He has not caught. He should have, but he hasn't.
Yeah. No, and then he had the gloves that he didn't catch it with. Then he had the no gloves and some tape job on there. He didn't catch it with that. Then he went back to the gloves. But none of that stuff would have helped him on that last pass anyway. Oops.
Free play. Toomer makes the catch, and then Williams knocks him down, and they are going to say that at this point that it was down. The Giants are going to say down, but no, they're going to say it was a completion and a fumble. The officials all looked at each other, and with replay, of course, so in evidence now, the officials are hesitating more before they make the final call.
But now we have to go back to that first thing you said, free play. Were they offsides?
Offside, 64 defense, 5 yards, repeat, third down.
So it's academic anyway, because the first play they were offside.
Exactly.
On the offside foul.
That's Dale Roy Stewart. So that negates anything good that can happen for the defense.
Right, and that's the definition of a free play. You say, what is a free play? Well, you see someone offside, you throw it in there. If something bad happens, you're going to get it back anyway. Here's the offsides right there. Again, I mean, I keep saying this every week, that when you line up over the ball, there's no way that you can be offsides because you don't listen to the count. You watch the ball.
3rd down and 4. Collins. And it is incomplete, but there's the flag. Carter was there as the receiver, and Mario Edwards says, I can't believe that.
Peterson, though. I mean, if Mario Edwards can't believe that one, he can ask Will Peterson.
Automatic first down.
But you hear he's on Carter there. He gets his hand up there. It's not interference. Oh, he just grabbed him right there. Well, that's pretty close, though. I mean, I think you have to let those things go. I think you let them play.
Definitely. Borderline. Cole, and open. This time is Toomer. And he makes the catch inside the 20-yard line. So the Giants moving quickly downfield. Williams with the coverage on the play, and that's 21 yards for Collins.
Yeah, and that was just zipping that right in. We talked about that cover 2 before, and where you get it, there's a hole between the corner and the safety. And Kerry Collins hit that hole.
1st and 10 now at the 18-yard line in a 15-point game with the Cowboys on top. Collins throws, caught, far side, Carter, and he gets wrestled down by Newman.
I think the Giants are in pretty good position here because they're starting to get charged now, and the Cowboys, you just get the feeling that this defense is starting to get run down a little. They're a smallish defense, and you can wear them out. And it looks like they're starting to get a little worn out on this drive.
And that's exactly what happened last week against Atlanta in the second half. 2nd down and 3 from the 11-yard line. And that is caught inside the 5. Caught by Toomer. It gets inside Newman. And that'll make it 1st and goal.
Because we know this, that if you give Kerry Collins time, he can make plays. And this whole game, he hasn't had time. Here's Amani Toomer out here. He's going to run up and he should have just gotten inside that goal line, though. Because that's what they're trying to do, I think, is run that pattern where, not that second pylon, but he's going to run that out to the first pylon or right on the goal line.
Working on Newman on this drive. 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Collins to the air, floats one, caught this time. Shockey, touchdown.
I always said, keep those gloves on.
Mama Shockey.
Mama Shockey. Every mother watches their son on every play. Here's Jeremy Shockey right here. And you see, the reason that he is so wide open is because it started with play-action pass. And the play-action pass holds a linebacker and safety and lets Jeremy Shockey get a couple of steps.
Now you go for 1, and then you go for 2 if you get another touchdown. In a 15-point situation, and that makes it 8. So they're back to making it a 1-possession game. Are the Giants as they move down the field with 9:54 left in the 4th quarter. Good ball game. 29-21. Cowboys. Tomorrow night. Matt Bryant to kick off for the New York Giants, who now trail by 8. Zuriel Smith moves over to the corner, takes it at the 3-yard line. Hit hard up at the 20-yard line. David Tyree leading the charge. For the Giants, I mentioned at the top what a huge win this would be. I mean, the Redskins are 2-0. The Giants would be 2-0. And Philadelphia 0-2 and 2 home losses.
You know, and the Cowboys have to get some first downs right now just to keep their defense off the field. Watch, this was coming off on that last drive. I had the feeling that the Cowboys defense was getting worn down, and you could see as they walked off the field, this is a very tired defense.
Last week, that was the case. The Cowboys were up 7-3 at the half and then gave up 24 points in the second half to lose to Atlanta. Crowd is into it. Carter tries to still have it over the middle. He hits Antonio Bryant up to the 41. So again and again tonight, Dallas has come back from a Giants score to make a big play on the other end, 22 yards.
And Quincy Carter has done everything that Bill Parcells has asked of him. You know, I mean, he has been very, very accurate. I mean, you watch this, we talk about putting the ball only where your guy can catch it and continue to run with it. And he's done that pass after pass after pass.
And he's averaging 8.9 yards per pass, which is excellent.
And that deep end pattern has been his best tonight.
42-yard line, two backs behind Carter. And look out, and nobody checks Dhani Jones. So you get two guys in the backfield, and Jones comes in off the other edge.
That's what they did. They bring the blitz up the middle, and then Dhani Jones is coming from the outside. So they protect it. They pack down, and no one blocks this side right here. See, they're going to come here, come up the middle, and then Jones comes free from the outside right here. See, because the tackle blocks down, the guard blocks down because of that middle blitz, and then Dhani Jones is free from the outside. What they did on that is they blitzed 7 guys, and there was only 6 blockers.
10 yards second at 2nd and 20 with the crowd in full throat. And Carter stepping up, throwing on the run, and throws it off the back of the defensive back, Ralph Brown. Terry Glenn looks for a flag. Brown, who scored the touchdown before, says 3rd and 20.
Yeah, we talked about Ralph Brown earlier when he made that interception for the touchdown. He's the nickel back. And the Giants are going where they're either going to bring blitz and bring pressure, or they'll mix it up and they'll drop their coverage and make Quincy Carter throw into coverage like they did that last play. I'll tell you about these fans in New York. They love defense and they know defense, and they know what this game is all about and when this team needs them, and they need them right now.
In every sport. 3rd down and 20. Casey. And they'll stop him at the 39-yard line, and that Dallas defensive unit did not get a lot of time to rest. In comes the punting group.
And that's why they needed a couple of first downs there. I think the Giants are in pretty good shape. If they can get good field position here, if they can get a pretty good return, and they have a great return guy in Ryan Mitchell, then they can get good field position and then just go on from there. This guy is dangerous.
Toby Goins punt. Short. Bounces at the 35 and takes a New York skip. And they'll get it at the 37-yard line. So here come the Giants with a ton of time. Half the period, in fact, 7:32 left in the 4th. 29-21 Dallas. So now the Giants with 7:32 remaining in the 4th. Down by 8. Begin this drive at their own 36-yard line. 4-man Cowboy front. Collins hangs in the pocket. Throws. Hits his man Hilliard up at the 41-yard line. And for Ike Hilliard tonight, that is his 5th catch.
And I think this is what Jim Fossil and the Giants are going to want to do, is just keep throwing, because, as I said, I think this Dallas defense is worn down. So they're not getting the same kind of pass rush and pressure that they were getting early in the game.
2nd and 4 now at the 42-yard line. Collins with time over the middle and wide open and on the run. It's Ike Hilliard who takes it all the way to the 20-yard line. He beats Roy Williams, 38 yards.
It's something we talk about, this rookie offensive line and how they were going to do. First of all, you have to wear down that defense. Here they have good pass protection. Look at Kerry Collins. He can step up, and he has a perfect lane to throw that ball into. And that's where it all starts. It all starts with that pass protection, and the Giants are doing it now.
Now the Giants go to the shotgun. Cowboys rush 4. Collins deep, and it's juggled and caught for the touchdown by Amani Toomer. And just like that, the Giants march down the field. Keith Hunter with the coverage on the play, and they're a 2-point conversion away from tying it up.
Boy, that didn't take long, and that's what an offense that can stay patient can do against a defense that is smaller and gets worn down. You know, I think the guy to watch here is the center, Wayne Lucier. I just saw him. He looks like he either pulled a muscle or got a cramp, and he's going to have a tough time even bending over to snap this thing.
72 seconds, 3 plays to try to tie it with the deuce here, and Collins throws, and it is incomplete, but a flag is thrown. And you can tell with Williams' reaction that the call is going to be against the Cowboys on the pass intended for Hilliard.
And now what do you do? Now the ball will be half the distance to the goal line. The ball will be on the 1-yard line.
Pass interference, 47 in the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 1.
And the two-point play, that's a passing down. When you get on the 1-yard now, this is run or pass. I think the best thing here is play action pass, because they have to play. When you get to the 1-yard line, they have to play. The defense does the run.
And the Giants in 2 backs into the game. That's Mitchell playing the fullback spot, and Barber is the tailback. 2-point conversion from the 1-yard line. They'll throw, and it's incomplete, and there are 2 flags. So Roy Williams gets flagged by both officials, and that'll move it to the half-yard line.
Again, now it's definitely a run situation.
31 in the end zone. Half of this is to the goal.
I mean, that's the problem with the Giants. They don't have a goal line runner, though. You say Dorsey Levens. No, Dorsey Levens is not a goal line runner. They usually keep Tiki Barber in there. But Shockey, usually on that play, he'll go down like he's blocking. He didn't have enough patience on that one. See the hold there on that side? And again, Roy Williams has good coverage, but he's just going for the ball before it gets there.
Now from the 18-inch line, a run, and they score to tie it. Tiki Barber off a Brian Mitchell block. And Bill Parcells, who looked 62 years old about 5 minutes ago, now looks 72.
Well, he knows it's those penalties. Now, those penalties put him in a run situation. Jim Fossil, I think, made an excellent call. Let's look at the touchdown first. Here's Amani Toomer right there. And you talk about a throw and putting a pass on a guy away from the defender. Kerry Collins did that perfectly. Look at this. You have to throw it to your guy, but away from the defender. The defender's on his inside, so he throws it to the outside. Watch Brian Mitchell's block right there. He just nullifies his guy so that Tiki Barber can get it through there.
He nullified Darren Woodson.
What is that about Brian Mitchell? He'll do anything. I mean, he's really not a goal line fullback, but if you need one, he is that guy.
With 6:20 left in the 4th, after the Giants take only 1 minute 12 seconds to go 64 yards, 3 plays, the game is even at 29.
You just feel the momentum change. You can see it in the team. You can see it in the Cowboy defense, and you could really feel it in this crowd.
And now the Cowboys will somehow, some way, try to get it back as they begin Rosario Smith's run back out to the 27-yard line. Among the problems now facing Dallas is they've used 2 of their timeouts as well. As you can see, the Cowboys led 20-7 at the half, 26-14 at the end of the 3rd period. And their biggest margin was a 16-point margin. They led 23-7 with 4 minutes gone in the 2nd half.
And I think the first thing the Cowboys have to think right here is get a first down. That has to be their goal. Get a first down.
The crowd is roaring. The Cowboys begin with a two-back set at the 28-yard line. And Carter's going to air it out, and that pass is incomplete. The coverage was perfect. Will Allen was back there with Joey Galloway.
That's the thing I would think that they wouldn't want to do. Because I think, you know your defense is worn out. You know they're worn down, and you have to keep them off the field a while. And the way to do that is just take those passes, those dump passes, run the ball, and to take some time off the clock here.
From the 28. Hambrick on 2nd and 10. A yard or so. 3rd and long coming up. Lance LeGree makes the hit. And Mike Barrow.
Mike Barrow has about 17 tackles, I think. It seems like every time the Cowboys run the ball, the play is made by Mike Barrow. And that defensive line really hasn't made a lot of plays, but Mike Barrow, maybe because the defensive line hasn't made a lot of plays, the middle linebacker, Mike Barrow, has made a heck of a lot of plays.
He has cleaned up. 3rd down and 9. From the 29. Carter backpedals, throws, caught, but short of the first down. Joey Galloway tackled by Will Allen, and just like that, 3 and out. John talked about trying to at least get a first down to give the guys a break.
Yeah, because they're not only going to be right back in there, but the Giants, again, are going to have pretty good field position. Depends on how Toby Goen punts this one. He's been punting some ugly ones tonight, hasn't he? In fact, I think you called one a shank.
Yeah, and he got away with it.
No, but you usually don't use that word.
No, you're right.
You called it an ugly shank at one time.
Some gaffer's tape on my lips. 4th down and 4. And the punt by Goen is a short line drive fielded by Mitchell at the 31. And Bryan will bring it back to the 40 before he's tackled by 4 or 5 Cowboys. The Cowboys, last 2 games, remember we showed you this graphic earlier in 2000 at Dallas. Dallas led 13-0. Giants won the game. The following year here, Cowboys led 24-7 at the half, and the Giants won the game. And tonight, as we said earlier, the biggest lead was 16 points. And right now, we're even. 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. And going deep and making an over-the-shoulder near catch was Tim Carter. No. Almost spectacular, but no.
Well, the Cowboys are using that cover too, and the Giants are really exposing it now. I mean, Kerry Collins doesn't worry. He's not worried about that safety getting over there, so he just keeps going deep on him. And you can see that the corner doesn't get back, the safety doesn't get over.
And the crowd, seeing that replay, wants a challenge, and that will be the call.
Right, and Tim Carter, seeing that replay, wanted the challenge. He thought that he was in, and then when he saw the replay, he was jumping up in the air to get a replay. I don't know that he came down with the ball, though, even though you go out of bounds.
Challenging the call on the field of an incomplete pass.
Well, again, you go back to 2 things here. Does he have possession, and are both feet in bounds? We'll look at it going to the break. We'll come out again, we'll look at it, and I'm sure Jerry Austin will take a long look at it. During the break, I don't think there is any way that they overturn the call of incomplete. The key thing here is, does he maintain control of the ball when he hits the ground? In fact, he doesn't. And when you really look at it, and we'll take another peek at it, I don't even think he has control before he hits the ground. Clearly his feet are in, but in every other sense, it's going to be an incomplete pass.
Well, his knee is down, too, and all you have to do is have one knee down, because one knee equals 2 feet. I learned that years ago. But the other thing, as you said, Al, you have to come down. Even though you're out of bounds, you have to keep control of the ball. Carter loses control when he goes to the ground.
And he barely, in my mind, I'm not even sure he has control as he goes to the ground. As the ball is starting to come out, and clearly it does come out. And Austin takes a long look at it. It will be, if it's ruled an incomplete pass, it'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Giants at their own 40.
And the Giants will lose the timeout.
Right.
After reviewing the play, the receiver comes down with 2 feet in bounds. However, by rule, when he lands out of bounds, he must hold on to the ball, and he did not. He lost it. The pass is incomplete. The call on the field stands as ruled.
What a tease. What a tease Austin is. I mean, the crowd is waiting. The minute they hear his feet are in bounds, I think everybody's going, yeah.
That is the definition of a tease. The receiver caught the ball and came down with both feet in bounds. The crowd goes nuts. But
Austin should have said, you know what, folks, I've got some good news for you and some bad news. 2nd down and 10 at the 40-yard line. Giants, of course, lose a timeout as well. They're down to 2, and the Cowboys have 1.
you know, sometimes you have to watch the ball and you can't listen to the count. And on that time,
unevaded to the quarterback, number 97, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Yeah, Kerry Collins got him with the hard count. You know, Leroy Glover was up there and he was ready to go, and instead of going on one, you'll see Kerry Collins. Watch him, you see him move his head and shoulders. That was a hard count. And Glover, instead of playing the ball, he was listening to Kerry Collins' cadence.
2nd down and 5 now. To the near sideline, and that pass is incomplete. Toomer, the intended receiver. 3rd and 5.
One of these things here, and Jim Fossil is thinking this too, that now you get 3rd down, now you need a 1st down. This is usually when they go to either Ike Hilliard or Jeremy Shockey in these situations, that 3rd and 5 situation. He's thinking of getting a 1st down, but you have to stay aggressive. You know, you don't want to say, okay, we're tied, let's get towards the end of the game, we've got to pull our horns in. You don't want to do that.
4 wide, including Shockey at the top of the screen. Collins flings it complete into Cowboy territory to Amani Toomer for a 1st down at about the 40-yard line.
Say, what a second half Kerry Collins has had. I mean, the 1st half, they couldn't get much going. The 2nd half, they just stayed with it. As I said, I think they wore the defense down. Again, quickness by Amani Toomer on that slant. You just have to get inside your guy. 3-step drop. You see inside, you just give him the ball right there.
1st down at the 39 with 3:45 left in regulation. And that pass is incomplete. No flag intended for Toomer. The coverage by Mario Edwards.
Kerry Collins was out of rhythm on that one. You know, usually you have a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop, and that one he was kind of a tweener. I mean, that was kind of like a 1 or 2-step drop, and there's really no such thing as a 2-step drop. I think Kerry Collins just took one.
Collins with 3 touchdown passes here in the 2nd half. Strahan in the defense resting. Meanwhile, no rest for the Cowboy defense. They've been in almost the whole period. 2nd down and 10 at the 39-yard line. Collins throws, and that's an errant throw intended for Tim Carter. 3rd down now at the 39-yard line.
I think Tim Carter had Terrence Newman, and he just fell down, and it was one of those things that Kerry Collins was in the motion of throwing, and he couldn't pull it back or stop it. He just had to throw it out there. But this Dallas defense, and you know, I think it's kind of hot and humid down there. I don't know why the Cowboy coaches are wearing jackets, but it looks like it's really wearing down, I mean, continuing to wear down this Cowboy defense.
3rd and 10. Collins throwing into the seam and incomplete, and no flag intended for Mike Hilliard, and Pete Hunter was there.
They were just waiting on that. You're going to see Tony Dixon just sitting back there, and it looks like there's something wide open here. And then Dixon is really going to close on it. See, he throws it in there, and then here comes Dixon. He was just sitting there waiting for that ball to be thrown.
Pete Hunter with the tip, and the Giants, by gaining nary a yard on that series, can't even attempt a field goal. Jeff Fiegels will have to punt. And he angles it. And right there to stop it at the 9-yard line for the New York Giants is Delvin Joyce. 3:20 remaining now as Dallas gets the ball, and Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. Old Spice, spice things up. Honey Nut Cheerios, be happy, be healthy. And G-Shock, shock the world with the Atomic Solar G-Shock watch. Because you're mine. I walk the line. I walk the line.
Johnny Cash.
You bet.
We lost a great one. We lost Johnny Cash. You just hear like 2 or 3 words in any song, and you'd know that's Johnny Cash.
No doubt.
I think you could name that tune in about 1.
The Dallas Cowboys from their own 9. Carter throws low, incomplete. Intended for Terry Glenn, who's had a big night with 6 catches for 99 yards.
Yeah, last week it was Joey Galloway who had the big day, and tonight, and Terry Glenn, I don't think he caught a ball last week.
Did not.
And tonight it's kind of reversed. It's Terry Glenn and not so much Joey Galloway.
Glenn has caught 6. Galloway's caught only 2 for 26 yards.
This whole second half, this Cowboy offense hasn't been able to help their defense much. They haven't run a lot of time off the clock once they got into the 4th quarter.
Carter throws, caught outside. Glenn up at the 16-yard line. 3rd down and about 4 coming up.
And we were talking about getting into the 4th quarter and how Bill Parcells never loses when he has the lead in the 4th quarter. And from that time on, they weren't able to get first down.
Nope.
It seems like their defense has been on the field the whole 4th quarter, and their offense has been 3 and out.
Giants caught fire, 2 touchdowns. 1 1-point conversion, 1 2-point conversion to erase a 15-point deficit. Big 3rd and 4 from the 15. Blitz coming, and that forces Carter to throw before he wanted to because of the blitz by Dhani Jones, and Collins gets ready to come back in with the offense.
That's what they do. I mean, they're going to put the pressure on you. You know, that they get up there and it's a 3rd down, and you see Dhani Jones just coming right up the middle. The left guard blocks in, the tackle blocks out, and there's no blocker there for Jones.
So now going, standing on his own 1-yard line, Brian Mitchell ready to receive it near midfield. Angled kick, and that one is pretty good. And they'll mark it close to midfield up at the Giant 49-yard line is where they'll start. And with 2:59 remaining in regulation, that's where the Giants will take over. The second half for Kerry Collins, quite in contrast to the first.
You know, it's funny how in the first half we talked about the offensive line and 3 rookies and how they weren't getting the job done. And in the second half, then Kerry Collins got hot and started doing all these things. We didn't talk about the offensive line anymore. 3 rookies are the center play and tackle. I mean, they have all united.
All of a sudden, they're like an all-pro. And Barber spins out of a tackle and picks up maybe a first down. That win had him near the line of scrimmage. And then Tiki, who's a little slow in getting up right now, is able to move the chains. That is a first down, but they're going to lose Barber for at least a play.
And that's the thing with the running game. I mean, one thing with the running game is they need Tiki Barber. The other thing, it's always easier to run in the fourth quarter. I mean, you kind of play the first quarter is tough to run, second quarter a little easier, third quarter gets somewhat easier, and then the fourth quarter, if you're going to get any running game going because of the defense getting tired, that's the time that you get it.
Well, Delvin Joyce will come in, but right now there's an injury timeout for the Cowboys. I believe that's Roy Williams.
That is Roy Williams. And you see Tiki Barber here. He got his foot caught, then he just ran right out of that. They're going for the strip. Everyone is going to try and get the ball out of there. Tiki holds on to this one. There's no way that he's going to let that ball come out of there.
Well, two big guys come off. You lose Barber, and the Cowboys lose Roy Williams on the same play. And Lynn Scott comes in to replace him as Williams starts to trot off.
Well, you look here, and we know what the Giants need for a first down, and I would say that they probably need about, what, 12 more yards to be in field goal range.
12 more puts them at the 30, makes it a 47-yarder. Lynn Scott is in, and Delvin Joyce is in the Giants' backfield. And Collins has his arm hit as he throws, and that's incomplete, making it second down and 10. It was Kenyon Coleman who hit him.
Bill Parcells kind of like Kenyon Coleman. You know, he just got him a couple weeks ago from the Oakland Raiders, and he's not impressed with his defensive line because he doesn't think they're physical enough. Then he got Kenyon Coleman. He said the thing that he likes about him is that he is physical. And you see he gets that pass rush and then just gets that left hand over there right on Kerry Collins.
Meanwhile, Barber and Williams both suck it up. They're both back in the game. Tiki in the backfield. Williams comes up, and he'll blitz, and he hits Collins as he throws, but Shockey makes the catch, and Woodson rolls him down inside the 35.
They're right there, so now you're thinking get a first down here, and then the Cowboys, of course, are thinking, you know, stop them. We have to knock them out of field goal range. Right now it'd be about a 52, 53-yard field goal. And we just saw Roy Williams where he came off and he was hurt, and then he comes back and they bring him on the blitz.
Huge play upcoming when we come back because it's third down and 3 at the 2-minute warning, and we're tied at the Meadowlands.
One way or the other, and that guy's probably going to ride the horse trailer.
Yes, he is.
But I think, what's that word or initials, TBD? I think horse trailer TBD.
To be determined.
Yep.
Or TBA, to be announced.
Yep. In the last 2 minutes.
This quarter, all Giants.
And that's when you have to have it. You know, you talk about emotion and motivation and getting guys up. You have to get them up that when they get tired and they're breathing like that they go and play. You know, it's not the first play or the first kickoff. It's none of those things. It's motivated to play from here on in.
And this is a huge play because if the Giants convert, they'd be in field goal range and they could run the clock down. And again, the Cowboys have only one timeout. If they don't convert, do you take a chance on about a 50-yard field goal and run the risk of missing it and giving the Cowboys the ball near midfield? So here it comes on third down and 3 from the 35-yard line on a roll by Collins, and they convert. They get the first down. He steps out of bounds, and now they can work the clock to the end. Amani Toomer makes the catch, and he's a candidate for the horse trailer.
That's a heck of a play and a heck of a call by Jim Fossil, because we know Kerry Collins is a sitting duck. He just stands in the pocket. He doesn't move out. So he gets in this situation. He needs a play, and he runs a sprint out. Sprint out right and just throw the out. And that was a perfect throw by Kerry Collins. It was a good call. You know, don't get it. If they're going to rush him, they're going to rush him in the pocket. Get him outside the pocket.
First and 10. The Cowboys can only stop the clock once, and Collins is going to air this one out and out of bounds, intended for Amani Toomer. Very interesting call.
Yeah, well, they've found something over there on that right side. I mean, they're going at Terrence Newman, and then they figure if it's going to be a cover 2, it's also going to be Roy Williams. So they're either going to get Newman, the rookie, or Roy Williams, who really looks beat up. And you see here they got Newman, and they have him going deep. Williams doesn't get over. But I'll tell you, that was just thrown out there. But, I mean, that's the place to work. If you're going to work on something, you're going to take a shot to your right side.
Second down and 10 at the 28-yard line. to the outside, and that is caught there by Tim Carter. And Carter would have preferred to stay inbounds, but he steps out, which helps the Cowboys with 1:44.
You see what they did to Terrence Newman. He knew that they were going to work on him, and he thought they were going to work on him deep. So he starts to bail out, and Carter just runs it out, and he's about 5 yards off him.
Matt Bryant, who was in an open competition with Mike Hollis in preseason, and Hollis got hurt. Bryant got the job, career long 47 yards. Right now he's within range of, if they gain not another yard, about a 38-yarder. Third and a deuce from the 20. And through the middle and trying to pick up the first down is Tiki Barber. And it is a first down. And now they can truly run the clock all the way down.
Yeah, that was a big second effort by Tiki Barber, because I was just thinking, if they don't get the first down, Dallas should call a timeout here. Once they get the first down, now Dallas can't call the timeout. But I don't know that he had it initially. It looked like it was a second effort thing. He's going to start. Here's Tiki Barber here. He's going to start with the lead right there and then cut back, and he doesn't have it yet, but he gets it right there as he goes down. Because he was trying to run it to the left side, and it wasn't there. He had to go for the cutback.
Final minute of regulation. Barber. And finally taken down to the 12. So the Giants are going to be in a position, as you'll recall, they were in the playoffs last year when the botched field goal attempt at San Francisco cost them the game. Of course, a play that should have been ruled pass interference, but that's another story.
Right, and you see Tiki Barber, how he has both hands on the ball now. There is no way that he is going to cough this thing up. And then you think, well, they're in good position here for field goal, and it's a chip shot. There's no such thing as a chip shot, and I think that was probably proven yesterday in Tampa, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
But they have 3 blocked extra points.
Well, how about at the end of the game? I mean, they score at the end of the game and then miss the extra point, and the Giants take a timeout here. So what the Giants are doing, they're finished running any plays. They're close enough for Bryant, and they're giving themselves the opportunity, in case of a botched snap, to try it again.
And that's right. It's just in case of a botched snap, they can try it again. Obviously, if he kicks the ball and misses it, they don't get to try on third down. I mean, that's the advantage of it. If something goes wrong with a snap, like that 49er game, if something goes wrong with that, then you get a do-over. But if you kick the ball, obviously, you don't get a do-over.
So the Giants trying to erase at one point a 16-point deficit. Bill Parcells, as we showed you before, in a situation like this, 12 or more points going into the fourth quarter, 49-0, and at risk now of not pitching a perfect game for his career.
But I'll tell you, that second half, did Kerry Collins play a second half, and did that offensive line gel in that second half?
Carson Dock will snap it. Jeff Fiegels will hold it. And this is a 30-yard attempt. Good. And the Cowboys now need a miracle run back with 11 seconds remaining. The Giants have moved out in front 32-29. First time the Giants have had the lead since they've led 7-0 in the first quarter.
Watch the snap. The snap is perfect. Fiegels just puts it down. It doesn't have to spin it, doesn't have to move it at all. That is what you call true. Kerry Collins, this was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be.
His son's hand.
He looks like he's ready to pass out.
Oh, man. Well, if you were the coach,
he needed a drink
in San Francisco last year.
But I'll tell you, he did a heck of a job of coming back in this second half, because the first half, they didn't look like they could get anything going offensively. They made some adjustments. Those adjustments worked. They wore down the Cowboy defense. Gary Collins hung in there, and they come back and and get this win.
Cowboys dominant through much of the first half, dominant through the early stages of the second half, and then it just turned on a dime. Bouncing ball, and that one will roll out of bounds at the 1-yard line. That's a huge break for the Cowboys. Of all things, it takes nothing off the clock, and it gives Dallas the ball at the 40-yard line. And now you throw a 25-yard pass and you get out of bounds, and they still have a timeout. You kick a field goal. Huge mistake.
That's one of the biggest penalties that there is, when you kick the ball out of bounds and the ball goes to the 40. Instead of, if it goes in the end zone, the ball comes out to the 20. Of course, if it doesn't go in, if it goes out of bounds, it comes to the 40. And as you say, that puts him in a position to take some shots here.
He had only one out-of-bounds kickoff last year, and he's had 2 tonight. Just out of bounds. So now you have 11 seconds and a timeout. And Carter from the gun. 3 receivers to the right. 3-man rush. Carter surveys. Deep, finds his man, hits him, and that's Antonio Bryant, who goes out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So with 4 seconds left, the ball will be at the 34-yard line, and Cundiff will come in to attempt about a 51-yard field goal.
Unbelievable the throw that Quincy Carter makes there.
And Antonio Bryant is hurt. He makes the catch. He gets whacked by Peterson. And even though he's out of bounds, he's close enough to the field that they can't resume play until they take care of him.
With Quincy Carter, he has to make a play here. And he puts this right on a rope. That is a perfect pass. He could have used about 5 more yards, but in this situation, that's what you have to do. I mean, again, it's that cover 2, and it's that hole between the corner and the safety, and he just hit him in there. And Bill Parcells is saying, that's what we need. At least we get another shot at it. We get our shot right here.
So Billy Cundiff, who has made 5 tonight. The one he missed was a 53-yarder at the end of the half. And they'll spot this one at the 42. Toby going, kneeling there. And here comes a 52-yard attempt on the final play of regulation to try to send it to overtime. Snap good, and the kick is good.
Amazing. This is amazing.
This is incredible. So it's unbelievable that Bryant can kick the ball out of bounds on the kickoff. As we said, a huge mistake. It gives the Cowboys their only gasp outside of a miracle run back, and we're going to go to overtime. John, remember last year we had all these 24-0 and 42-7?
Well, and now we get this thing.
This
thing is really something, though. I mean, watch this. The snap right down. Again, he spins, makes a good spin. And Cundiff gets everything in this one. Just inside the left pole.
From 52. And that's why he loves football.
That's what it's all about. You know, if you didn't get to play games, and Bill Parcells is one of those guys that not only loves the game as the best part, but he loves games on the road. I was always kind of a home coach type guy myself, but he loves to come out on the road where the fans are against him. But the whole thing, as you said when it happened, was that kickoff going out of bounds, and the Cowboys getting the ball on the 40, then that put him in position to take the shot.
Of all things, just send a bouncing ball down the middle. Point flip.
Head and tails. He's making a call. Heads is a call. It is a head. You've won the call.
And so Dallas will get the ball right back.
Change. Dallas won the toss. They will receive.
At the end of regulation, Dallas 32, the Giants 32, overtime on Monday Night Football after this message from our ABC stations.
One team.
Who the hell are you?
One mission.
Their job's to keep us safe.
Stop any threat.
Nobody finds out. You got a problem with that?
No, sir.
Threat Matrix premieres Thursday on ABC.
As time flows on, there are places we return to again and again. Places that comfort us with their serenity. Places that astound us with their beauty. Places where our memories come to life. Precious places. Timeless places. Places that with your help can endure forever. I'm Paul Newman. Help the Nature Conservancy save the last great places around the world.
Kurt Bachman is an authority on mountains.
We guide people in the mountains here.
How you spend your day.
Mountains create their own weather.
Depends so much on the weather.
We pay close attention to the weather.
Whether you're in the mountains, like Kurt, or getting the kids off to school, Scott Dorval gives you a real picture of tomorrow's weather tonight.
We're pretty blessed here in the Sawtooth to have more than our fair share of good weather.
Scott Dorval, the Weather Authority, 6 on your side.
No one will complain about a bluebird day.
Thanks for watching 6 on your side.
Collins will have to sit and wait and hope to get in because Dallas is going to get the ball as we start overtime at the Meadowlands. And here was Bryant's kick, which was outside the hash mark to begin with and then just kept rolling left. If it goes into the end zone, it's the 20-yard line. Goes out there, 40-yard line. That allows Carter to hit Bryant, and then Cundiff does his thing. 52 yards as the clock goes down to triple zeros.
As you said, all started with that kickoff. If that kickoff didn't happen, then they wouldn't have had one shot. But then, because they did get one shot, they still had to make it. Quincy Carter still had to make that throw. And then, of course, Cundiff still had to make that kick.
Zuriel Smith to run back the Bryant kickoff. From the 8. Out to the 28-yard line. In overtime now, maximum of 15 minutes, and it starts to rain again. But the game ends, as you know, sudden death. Either team scores. Each team is allowed 2 timeouts, and there are no challenges. All reviews are initiated from the officials upstairs. No challenges in OT.
You know, and every time you get an overtime, then you get the argument, should both teams get the ball? And that's usually when the defense doesn't do its job and stop the offense, when they score with that first drive. I think the overtime rules are fine.
I do too. From the 29-yard line, 1st and 10. Carter hit as he throws, and that pass is incomplete. He was looking downfield for Richie Anderson, but Brandon Short put the pressure on the QB.
You know, and you just think now of the preseason and how little these guys play in the preseason. You know, they play a quarter here, a quarter there. Then they get in this just the second game of the regular season, and they're playing an overtime game. And I'll tell you, both of these teams are spent.
Totally. It's almost 10 to 1 in the morning in the Eastern time zone. 2nd and 10. From the 29-yard line. Rolling, throwing, and the gain is up to the 33-yard line as Bryant makes the catch. About 6 yards shy of the first.
You know, Al, I think there's something wrong with Quincy Carter. I think he hurt his leg. I mean, he's been out there making plays and playing. But anytime he moves, he's limping.
Take a peek here.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor or a trainer, but looks like to me like he has a pulled groin. Watching the way he comes out here.
A little gingerly, yeah.
But there's no way that he's going to come out of this game. I mean, not now. Obviously, we're in the thing, but I think he's had that for a couple of quarters.
3rd down and 7. Giants show blitz. They come. The pass is caught by Joey Galloway, who reaches up and makes the grab near midfield. That's the risk you run if you're going to send everybody. Somebody's going to be open, and it's Galloway here.
Yeah, Will Peterson was on him, and he tried to undercut it. You see, you can either play that thing over the top or you can try and come underneath. Now watch Will Peterson. He's going to come in here. See, he tries to go under, and then the ball goes right over him.
At the 49-yard line now, 1st and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys. Short drop, then deep, and nobody open. Galloway down the sideline, and 2 Giants are there. 2nd and 10.
You know, I know what they tried to do. They saw Will Peterson undercut that one, so they thought, okay, let's fake it and then go deep. You know, let him see a slant like you're coming inside, let him go underneath it, and then you just go up right by him. Didn't work. But it was a good idea.
Good idea, yeah.
But I think Will Peterson knows that, too. Okay, I undercut it, they threw it over. I'm not going to do that again.
2nd down and 10. A minute and a half into overtime. Carter throwing, and caught by Jason Witten. Reaching, almost lunging catch by the tight end. Michael Strahan put the pressure on Carter that time, and that's a 1st down.
Hey, Quincy Carter is showing me something tonight. I mean, just putting the ball right where his receivers are, not, you know, kind of throwing them away from the defender, but getting enough on the ball that only his guys can catch it, and he's doing it under pressure. Watch Michael Strahan here. He's going to be right on Quincy Carter as he throws that.
8 or 9 more yards. They're in field goal range from the 41-yard line, and they give it to Hambrick, and Hambrick is able to pick up about 4 to the 37-yard line.
You know, this is the thing. You see Kerry Collins there, you see Jim Fossil, and they just want the ball back. I mean, as a coach that calls plays, you want the ball back. As a quarterback, Kerry Collins knows right now he's helpless. There's nothing he can do to win this game now if the defense doesn't get the ball back for him.
Bryant can only pace and ponder the out-of-bounds kickoff. 2nd down and 6. Hambrick swinging to the outside. That's a big play by the Giants defense. Cornelius Griffin stops them. They were almost in field goal range, and now they're pushed back about 5 yards to the 41.
Right, and this is a time when big-time players make big plays. I mean, the Giants know someone has to make a big play. Someone has to get penetration. And you're going to see Griffin's right here. He's going to get penetration and play on this side of the line of scrimmage. Then he comes right off the center, just pushes him back. Heck, he's 5 yards into the backfield. That's penetration.
Big 3rd and 10. Still a little bit out of field goal range. Pressure on Carter. Hit as he throws. Loses the ball. It's a free ball. It's a fumble, and it's recovered by Dallas, so at least they keep it, and they'll be able to punt it. Kenny Holmes came in and stripped it, and it was recovered by the Cowboys. So the Cowboys were that close to field goal range, and now they have to punt.
As I was just saying, someone had to make a play. Kenny Holmes has been quiet all night. And you're going to see him come from this backside. His left hand goes for Quincy Carter's body, and his right hand comes across for the strip.
Flozell Adams recovered the football.
He should have. He was the guy that was beaten by Kenny Holmes.
Yes. Toby going to punt. Mitchell back to receive it. High floater. Fair catch called for. Mitchell hauls it in at the 19-yard line. Now the Giants get the ball, so the Cowboys had it for 4:26. 10:34 left in the overtime period.
And you look at Kerry Collins in this second half. First half he threw for 100 yards. Second half 165 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Kerry Collins, whatever adjustment he made, whatever adjustment Jim Fossil made, the offensive line, they made the right adjustments, and they took it to this guy in the fourth quarter.
Ball spotted at the 20. Collins on 1st and 10. And had that one almost slip out of his hand, looking right then left and try to float it over to Barber. Greg Ellis may have tipped it.
And Kerry Collins, you could see him over there when the defense was out in the field, knowing that his defense had to make a play for him so that he could get this opportunity. And now he and his offensive teammates have this opportunity. Michael Strahan made a big pass rush. Kenny Holmes, of course, made a big pass rush on that last series of down. Griffin made a big play.
2nd down and 10. Now the Cowboys crowd the line.
That's remember like in grammar school.
Offense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Used to call that can in the center. You know, like no can in the center. You know, you can't do that. The guy's down. You can't knock him over. What happens? David Deal, the right guard, misses, and then I mean he moves, and then if he moves, then it's okay to can the center. Look at the poor center. I mean, he's just sitting there. He's not bothering. And we still got the ball in his hand. And he got canned.
That is a full canning. 2nd down and 15. Collins works out of the shotgun now. Throws deep and incomplete. Intended, I think, for Tim Carter, and Carter fell down.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Carter came inside, and then he was trying to make a cut back to the outside to make a corner pattern. And as he made the cut to the outside, he fell down.
Moist tonight, raining off and on throughout the game, lightly. Field is field turf, artificial. 3rd down and 15 at the 15-yard line.
This is where Bill Parcells is thinking defense here. He's playing a 3-man line, 8 men off. You know, do you blitz from this or do you give him coverage? It looks like he's going to make Kerry Collins throw into coverage here.
He will. 3 in, 8 back, and that's tipped and incomplete. So the Giants go 3 and out, and plus a 5-yard penalty, and it's 4th down, and Greg Ellis put the pressure on that time, and the Cowboys should get the ball near midfield.
Right, and Greg Ellis, a big play again from the 3-man line. You're saying this shouldn't happen. You know, if they have a 4-man line, if they have a blitz, he just takes Chris Bober and he just takes his right shoulder and just spins him right around. You know, we talk about guys that had to move and rookies and so on. Chris Bober, normally the starting center, is playing right tackle, and he's having his hands full out there with Greg Ellis tonight.
Jeff Fiegels to punt, Zuriel Smith to run it back. Pretty good kick. Fair catch ball for 43-yard line by Zuriel Smith with 10:09 remaining in the regulation period. 42-yard boot by Fiegels. Cowboys tonight, their key guys. Carter, a 290-yard night. Hambrick did most of his damage, such as it was in the first half. Galloway, 3 grabs. But Glenn's been the big guy. I mean, Galloway is the star, but Glenn's been the key man. 7 for 105 yards.
Looks like Terry Glenn's getting his gloves straightened out. Remember in the old days, and I remember when I was coach, I guess it was the old days when we had Stickum. Remember Fred Blitnikoff?
Well, you coached Lester Hayes, who invented it.
They all had Stickum. Now they don't have Stickum anymore, but they didn't wear gloves in those days either. So gloves have really taken the place of Stickum.
From the 43-yard line. Carter throws, and that's incomplete. He tried to hit Glenn, and there's a flag down. Flag down in the secondary, in the middle of the field.
Usually when it comes from that deep, it's holding on the tight end.
Holding, 25 of the defense, 5 yards, automatic 1st down.
Holding on Will Allen.
Right, and it's usually him holding the tight end. I think on that time it was Will Allen holding Joey Galloway. See Will Allen there, number 84 is Joey Galloway. And yep, that's holding. That's you got him. That's a penalty, and defensive holding is an automatic 1st down.
At the 48-yard line, 1st and 10 now. Carter for Galloway, and it is almost intercepted by Will Allen. He got inside, and Allen is shaken on the play, and Allen reaching back for his hamstring.
I think a little of this, or maybe a lot of this, as we get to this end of the game, we talk about conditioning and so on. Just looking at a lot of these players, I think they're getting dehydrated. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, it can be a pulled muscle, it can be a cramp, it can be a lot of things, but these guys have really emptied their tanks tonight.
And whether it's a cramp or not, and that's what it appears to be, you still have to come out for at least a play. And actually, I think it looks like he's favoring his shoulder.
Michael Strahan knows that he has to make a play there. Richie Anderson is trying to block him. That's about the third time that Michael Strahan has just ran right by or right over Richie Anderson tonight.
Ball at the 48, second down and 10. Well, I think back to the last time we played a game in this arena, 2000, Miami and the Jets, which was rated by some as the greatest game in Monday Night history. Second down and 10. Carter stepping up into Giant territory and gets tackled at the 47-yard line. So it'll be third down and 4 or 5 upcoming. Third and 4 now.
He didn't look like any leg was bothering him on that one. I mean, he made, you know, some quick moves and some speed moves. I mean, he went to his left, went to his right, and then just burst straight up the middle.
The Godfather coming back and trying to whack the Giants. Third down and 4. At the 46. Pressure. Flushed out. Throws. Caught at the 39-yard line and out of bounds goes Terry Glenn. That moves the chains. First down at the 38-yard line. Terry Glenn. Big night.
You know, Michael Strahan almost had him there. Quincy Carter looks like sometimes like he's limping, but then within that limp, he has a burst. Watch, limp, and then he just has a burst. It just takes off to the outside. Watch him here. It looks like he's limping, and then he feels Strahan coming up. He just outruns him and then makes that throw on the run.
Ball to the 38-yard line, first and 10.
I like Quincy Carter.
Started to stumble, but gets the hand off the handbrake, and he bangs his way all the way down to almost a first down inside the 30 to the 28-yard line.
Hey, one thing about Troy Hambrick, he can finish off a run. You know, that's the thing. Remember, Walter Payton used to do that, where when you get ready to hit him, he's going to give you more than you give him. You're going to do that. If you're the running back, you don't always have to take it. You can give it too.
Second down and 1, and they give it to the fullback. That's Anderson. Third down. Now, if it comes down to a Kunda field goal attempt, he has already made 6 tonight. A 7th would tie the NFL record.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, have we ever put a kicker on the horse trailer? I don't know.
We have not.
I don't think so. I mean, if he does it, I mean, you got to put him. I mean, you have to say, hey, maybe we have to put a kicker on. I don't know.
Well, that 52-yarder at the end of regulation, that's worth it. And then there's Bryant, whose night is a little bit different right now. Third and a yard from the 29-yard line. A little roll, a throw. That's caught. First down, way into field goal territory. Inside the 10. First and goal. That's Dan Campbell, the former Giant.
Look at Quincy Carter and say, we got him on that one. Yeah, again, you see Hambrick make the run, and then they think we have to stop the run. So you fake the run, and then you come out and bootleg. And when you do that, watch how that holds that whole defense. The whole defense is going to the right, and then Quincy Carter comes out the backside, and Dan Campbell is wide open.
John, there's a lot to like about Quincy Carter. As you say, 321 yards tonight.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, Bill Parcells said, I won't know until 6 or 7 weeks from now, but I think he's getting a little indicator tonight on Quincy Carter.
Now, nothing but ball security as Carter simply moves the ball as close as he can between the hash marks to set up a Cundiff field goal attempt. So he tries to kick a 7th field goal, and there it is. Jim Bakken did it to the Cards back in '67. Rich Karlis did it, and then Chris Boniol. That was a Monday night game in '96 when the Cowboys scored 21 points, all by Boniol.
I don't know. What do you think about a kicker if he makes it?
I think we put him on. I mean, Terry Glenn deserves half a picture anyway.
Well, Quincy Carter deserves a whole bunch too.
He does.
I mean, he was the big question coming in here, and that's what Bill Parcells talked about last night. I saw Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones before the game, and I said, "How you doing? How you going to do?" And he said, "It all depends on how Quincy Carter does." Well, tonight Quincy Carter did his part.
Big night for Carter. Big night for Glenn. Glenn tonight 8 catches for 113, putting a big third down grab here to get him truly into field goal territory.
One of the things that started that was Hambrick running, and he was running, and then they knew the Giant defense that they had to stop the run, so they started Flo, and then they all go to Flo to stop Hambrick, and then bootlegging out the other side is Quincy Carter.
So after a Giant timeout to try to freeze the kicker, here's Cundiff now. 25-yard field goal attempt to win the game. Going to hold. 7 field goals. And the Dallas Cowboys and Bill Parcells come into Giant Stadium and leave with a 35-32 overtime win. What a game. What a game.
This had it all. I mean, we talked about the offensive line, the defensive line, guys that had what they had in their tank, and then it boils down to a kicker kicking 7 to make a coach feel like this.
Well, he went from looking 62 to 72, and now he's back to about 47.
You say these guys get paid a lot of money and they don't have emotion, they don't have passion, then you watch those shots and you know that they still do.
And for Matt Bryant, a soon-to-be sleepless night with the kickoff with 11 seconds remaining, going out of bounds to set up the heroics. The Autotrader.com postgame show coming up next as the Cowboys come into the Meadowlands and come away with a win.